don't smoke. Say what? I don't smoke.
Back in the day, yeah.
What do you want?
Back in the day, absolutely. He laid inside me. Really good.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the PWBA and Texas Star Lanes, I'd like to welcome you to round two qualifying for this year's Las Vegas Open. Before we begin round two, we have a special ceremony that we would like to continue here on PWBA Tour. We'd like to present our champions, their champions banner. And from last season, this player captured her first career title, so we did not get a chance last year to present the champions banner to her. At this time, if I could draw your attention to 35 and 36, we'd like to present Danielle McEwen for capturing the 2015 Smithfield PWBA Tour Champion. Congratulations, Danielle.
Made the shot. Took Brian Disneyland down to my room. Did I mean, goodbye. Play the gutter and don't
Welcome back to Bowl TV on Extra Frame for the 2016 PWBA Las Vegas Open, the opening event of the 2016 season. We're here live behind lanes 37 through 40 at Texas Station in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Aaron Smith alongside Emil Williams Jr. and Jason Thomas. We'll possibly have some special guests in the booth as well throughout the day. And we are in round number 2 of qualifying. After these 6 games, we will know the 32 advancing to the Cashers round, starting bright and early at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. local time, or 8 a.m. local time, excuse me, here in Las Vegas. Joining us on our featured pairs over on 37 and 38, we actually got to see them earlier today. We get to see them again. Gabriella Mayfield, Debbie Ayers, and Carrie Watson. Some new bowlers joining us on 39-40. First time we've got to see them today. Lindsay Boomershine, Virginia Young, and Yuka Chuchia. You can visit pwba.com/live to see the standings through the first 6 games. We'll run through them real quick for you, though. On top of the standing, Shannon Pluhowski from Dayton, Ohio. 1440, the left-hander averaging 240 on the nose for the opening block. With games of 232, 256, 243, 236, 216, and 257. Very impressive performance for the longtime Team USA member. Sitting in second from Singapore, Hu Fen Nu at 1400 even. So she's plus 200. Games of 240, 226, 223, 246, 237, and 228. Extremely consistent. In third, Sandra Gongora from Mexico, 1394. Rocio Restrepo moves into the top 4 with a strong finish. Games of 247, 247, and 254 in their last 3 to get to 1347. Linda Barnes rounds out the top 5 with 1342, the USBC Hall of Famer and 2-time Queens champion. We'll take a look at the top 12. Currently plus 94. That's Linda Walbom of Brighton, Colorado. 215 average. To get to the top 32 right now, plus 44. Diana Zavilova of Latvia holding down that spot. 1244, 207.33 average. So once again, a quick rundown of how everything's working here today. We already had 6 games of qualifying to kick things off. This is the second qualifying block, 6 games, so the total of 12 will determine the 32 who advance to tomorrow's action. The rest of them, unfortunately, they'll be all done here at the Las Vegas Open and can look forward to the nationwide PWBA Sonoma County Open starting on May 5th. But from those 32, they'll bowl 6 more games tomorrow morning to kick things off. From there, they'll cut to the top 12, and then it gets then the real fun starts. Those 12 players will be split into 2 groups for match play, each featuring 6 players. One group will consist of the odd seeds, so the 1 seed, 3 seed, 5 seed, 7 seed, 9 seed, and 11 seed will be in one group. The even seeds will be in another. They'll bowl 6 games of round-robin match play, finishing with a position round. And at the end of match play, the top qualifier in each group will earn an automatic spot in the televised step-ladder final. The top seed will be determined by total pinfall. The second, third, and fourth qualifiers in each group will advance to a group step-ladder, so that's new for 2016, to determine the final 2 spots to make it to the show. The third and fourth qualifiers will kick things off with a 1-game match. Winner advancing to take on the second qualifier. Winner of that earns their spot on CBS Sports Network. Once again, the finals of the PWBA Las Vegas Open won't take place until May 26th at the USBC Queens. So the show will be taped there and will air for broadcast on CBS Sports Network on June 7th. That deal part of a 23 television show agreement between the United States Bowling Congress and CBS Sports Network. All those shows taking place throughout the summer and part of the fall of 2016. So if you haven't subscribed already to CBS Sports Network, make sure that's part of your broadcast package. So the players had a brief break after the 6-game qualifying. They're back here. They got to see the fresh, got to see how they broke down, so probably some surface adjustments. They're bringing some, or trying out some different equipment here in the early going. But they know what the lanes are giving them. It's a matter of making the right choices and executing here the rest of the way out. Hopes of making it into that top 32. 89 total players in the field here this week. As you can see on the scoreboards up there, half of our players plus, half of them in the red, in the minus. Yuka Chuchia just inside the top 32 number at the moment, plus 46. Gabriella Mayfield at plus 16. Debbie Ayers at plus 3. Still got some work to do here in the final 6 games. But that's what you're asking for, just having the opportunity to make a run at the end. See if you can make it the right adjustments. Here's Lindsay Boomershine in the 4th. No problem on the single pin. Lindsay minus 43. So that puts her in 60th place. Just one rough game for her. She had 157 in game 4. Handful of 2-0s and a 210 in there as well. So she was essentially plus for, or even for everything else, just that one bad game has her in the red. I'm going to welcome into the booth Emil Williams Jr. Joining us once again here on Extra Frame. Emil, how was lunch?
It was very good. It was very good. AA Ron, quite good. It was intriguing. The lunches there were quite massive.
Definitely
a lot of food.
Much more than I expected for the typical breakfast platter of eggs, bacon, hash browns, and toast. That was
which is good, though.
This is good. Absolutely. It was unexpected. So, Texas Station, keep up the good work.
Which is good. You get a lot for the price. That's always a plus.
Similar to a subscription to Extra Frame. So, we're hoping we're delivering on that.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity to, again, to see the best female bowlers in the world.
And he means it when he says world. We have a very, very international field here. As we mentioned at the top of the standings, Hu Fen Nu from Singapore, Sandra Gongora from Mexico, Rocio Restrepo, originally from Colombia, now lives in Ohio. But they're sitting in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, respectively. Takiko Naganawa from Japan in 11th. Shayna Ung from Singapore in 17th. Karen Marcano from Venezuela, 22nd. Cherry Tan from Singapore in 26th. And as we already mentioned, Yuka Chichia in 31st at plus 46. So all those players currently in the number for the cut. So some cool stuff going on here.
Pace is relatively quick. It's 3 on a pair as they cross, of course. Almost through 5 frames complete. 37 and 38. In fact, through 5 now as they get set to begin the 6th.
Definitely a quick pace for that first block. Those 6 games flew by.
They certainly did. Had some great guests in the booth as well. Good conversation always helps and sees the time go by pretty quick. Steve Pumpkin, freshly inducted into the USBC Hall of Fame on Thursday night. Congratulations again, Steve. And a chance to be there for that event, live stream it. So that was quite the spectacle to see in general, but seeing it live certainly was certainly an honor to be there. Also had Patrick Allen in the booth as well earlier this morning.
Yeah, Mop.
Mop. Yeah, he's a good dude. Like talked about his perspective and views earlier, so I like how he brings it when he's in the booth. Also had Stephen Padilla as well, USBC Director of Coaching. He's got some most recent international travel, going over to Japan to help train the coaches there. Game number 1, Aaron, and it'll be interesting to see what some of the adjustments the ladies will make based off, of course, the first 6-game qualifying block. So I know a couple folks heard and talked to Stephen, of course, beforehand, and mentioning how the use of surface, extra surface, or more surface rather, might come into play here in the beginning of this block. Perhaps moving further left, maybe a little earlier as well.
And I think we're seeing that here too. Lindsay's shot was probably a little bit further left than she had hoped for, but yeah, we saw most of the players playing a little bit further right to start the first block, and they migrated left pretty quickly. Pattern this week at 39 feet in length, 25.1 on the mills. We're using the we're using the Kegel fire oil this week, not fire ice. That would be nifty though too. But yeah, big thanks to Kegel, our official lane maintenance provider, for providing the pattern. Getting everything reconditioned here in the middle of the block. Gus Falgen doing work. Him and his Kegel Flex lane machine, of course. I'm not seeing anything really too crazy going on here, at least on the pairs around us. A few doubles here and there, a few folks covering spares. Quite a few splits, though, in the surrounding area here. We're behind lanes 37 through 40. There is a lane schedule up on PWBA.com for those of you interested in seeing who's making the move next.
Yeah, we saw earlier when we began this morning some of the rare missed spares and errant shots. And we thought mostly that was due to just some nerves, general nerves, the beginning of the tournament, new season kicking off. And I think I'd imagine, they may still be, some small nerves, just kind of general anxiety as you begin the event. But I'd imagine women are pretty confident, having an idea, of course, bowling 6 games earlier and where they want to play. At that point, really about executing and keeping up with the moves, of course. Reading the lane, seeing if you can stay ahead of the transition. That's always important. Seen a couple good scores. Off to our right. A couple of strings, of course, Liz Johnson. If you say that Liz Johnson has 4 in a row,
doesn't have the same effect.
Just doesn't, it's expected.
Expected, yes. Fantastic word choice. I was going to use the same one, so.
Nonetheless, that is the case. Can't see exactly where she's playing at a tough angle, but looks to be to the right, where, of course, Liz knows certainly how to play the lanes and certainly knows how to play them straight and play them to the right.
Yeah, not many people in the world who can do that better than the USBC Hall of Famer.
They get the 10 to go in the 8th frame. So Liz with 5 in a row. Went spare, open, spare. Next 5. She is on 43 and 44. We have features pairs here. Maybe Ayers. Up after the Watson spare. Excited to see the kind of the finished product, essentially, on the tournament. The new format should make for some exciting and drama just to make the show.
Oh, for sure. With that new format, and plus the fact that it just allows so many people the opportunity going into the group step ladder to have a chance. I mean, we go from, we'll already know 2 on the show by that point, but then we cut down from another 6 to 2, so 6 players are going to have a chance to sneak their way in and then win a few matches on TV and possibly become a PWBA champion.
Certainly should provide some great viewing experience. Tough break there for Lindsay Boomershine there in the 9th frame. 4 through the middle. Mayfield up on lane 37. They take care of that 10 pin. Graduate assistant coach at Valparaiso University.
Also a pretty successful collegiate player in her own right before making the jump here to the PWBA. Nice shot from Carrie Watson, but 4th 9 count in a row. Looks like Stephanie Johnson's going to put up a big game here. A few pairs to our right. Spare, strike, spare. And she hasn't missed since. She's up for her second shot in the 10th frame. She's about 5 pairs to our right. Had a nice conversation with Patrick Allen about how just consistent Stephanie is. She, doesn't really let too many open frames happen throughout the course of a block, and she finds her way just to kind of grind out some scores to begin with. Some 2-0s, some 2-10s. Just stay around that even number, and then when she has the opportunity, she attacks. And out of the gate, she's made the right moves, and she's going to be in the 250s to start. So that'll get her to plus 100. So in a very good position for the top 32. She can keep that momentum going. She'll be looking good for the top 12 as well. And one of the things Extra Frame is not catching right now, but we've been seeing it all day, and it's great to see just the representation from each company as coaches and advisors throughout the building. We have Chuck Gardner from Brunswick standing right in front of us. I've seen Jim Callahan and Del Ballard of Storm, Rob Gottschall representing the brands of Ebonite, and a few others who are making their rounds, helping their players get lined up. But all right, somewhat of a low-scoring start here to the second round here on Extra Frame. Definitely some struggles out of the gate, so these players moving to a fresh pair after this, going to reset quick memory.
Still some time left, certainly. 5 games. You'd like to get off to a fast start if you can. But, depending on how things go, if you can make the right moves, no matter what, game 1 win for you. But of course, our sport is about adjustments. Always adjusting on the fly in our sport because there's constant transition. So paying attention to what you're doing, what your pair's doing, or perhaps a few pairs, to the left or right of you, just to get an idea, see who's having success, what they may be doing that I might not be, for example. All important keys, but these women are phenomenal. That's kind of first and foremost.
Absolutely.
They're phenomenal bowlers to begin with. And when you get that many phenomenal bowlers in one event, you start to see, and you will see high scores. And course, you know, again with our sport, there'll be some tough games, but you'll watch them and see how they bounce back and recover from set games.
Players starting to move around. We have one shot to go on 37 and 38. W. Ayers looking to get to 167. Ends on the right note. But she'll fall to minus 30 overall. And just like that, and game one in the books here on round number 2 of qualifying at the 2016 PWBA Las Vegas Open. We're at Texas Station in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Aaron Smith. He's Emil Williams Jr. We're on Bowl TV on Extra Frame. Thanks for stopping by. 5 more games to go today. Brandy Sanderson wasting no time to get game 2 started. She's joined by Angelica Green and Gloria Blair. Our other feature pair will have Kelly Callahan, Brenda Padilla, and Ashley Galante. So we got to see them at the end of round number 1. Get to see them again here in the early going of round 2.
And put up some good scores as well at the end of that block. So we'll kind of see the adjustments earlier in the block, what takes place in a game 2 as opposed to game 6. Of course, the lanes will certainly dictate what happens there, and there's always a drastic difference, more than likely, especially in this format.
Brenda Padilla throwing pins all over the place. Early double here in game 2. Gets a late kick on the 10. Right-hander's best friend. A pair of left-handers on 39 and 40. Brandy Sanderson and Gloria Blair. So they get to see the transition probably a little bit differently than most of the other left-handers in the field. Blair, no problem on the single pin. Gloria joining us from Albuquerque, New Mexico this week. Here's Padilla stepping up in frame number 3, looking to make it 3 for 3. Currently sitting at plus 98. The shot runs a little bit high, heads through the nose, 610. Brenda's a 4-time member of Team USA. She was the 2010 USBC Team USA Trials champion. And as you mentioned, Mr. Williams, we had Stephen Padilla on, Brenda's husband, and they actually teamed up to set a record at the USBC Open Championships on their way to winning the regular doubles title in 2009 right here in Las Vegas. Shot a massive 15.66. That's the record. And something that's probably not going to be broke anytime soon. So that's a pretty special moment they got to share. Brenda also went on to shoot 300 in the singles event that year. So definitely some impressive performances.
Yeah, they make a pretty solid combo.
I would say.
Got about two talented individuals.
If you see a mixed doubles tournament, you may their name on the roster, they may scare some people away. We had a chance to talk to Ashley Galante for a quick moment in between the blocks. She's at plus 65 so far, up in frame number 3. She'll take the nice break there. Said she was working with a trainer who also happens to be a bowler and kind of doing things a little bit differently than most sports trainers would for preparing for event, working different muscles, stuff necessarily you wouldn't think to work out for bowling, but she says it's going well. She's been able to increase her ball speed a little bit, and it's been working out. And once again, on the right side of plus here in the early going.
Yeah, she's always been a talented bowler, certainly nonetheless. I mean, that's some collegiate success as well. And so you could certainly see that as a youth player, she had the talent, and eventually at some point would be on this type of stage.
That's one of the things we were talking about with Patrick Allen. He mentioned, he didn't necessarily name names, but he said there's probably about 12 to 15 players out here who have kind of made that leap to the next level where they're going to be contenders each and every week. And then there's that next tier kind of. There's those fringe players who are going to have a good week here and there, who are looking to make the jump to that next level. Ashley's certainly close, if not knocking on the door, to kind of being that consistent player week in, week out, threatening to take home a title.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the more exciting things, again, with the PWBA Tour, just that intrigue on, which player will take that leap or make that jump. Which player will end up being one of the most consistent players from week to week. Is it someone, which player essentially, for example, that may not be named Liz, Stephanie, Shannon. I don't even need to say their last names. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. And so if you get to the first name status, you're probably in that tier.
First name status. I like that. We got to make that a thing. Or you got to make that a thing since you're going to be the guy this year.
I won't be the guy. I'm always one of the guys.
So you're going to be holding down the fort.
Team guy.
Holding down the fort for us. So first name status, Emil Williams Jr. That just happened.
Linda, right?
Linda doesn't need a last name.
Wendy.
See, but Chris needs a last name. You need to say Chris Barnes, but Linda is just Linda's just Linda, and everyone knows who we're talking about. So.
But that literally, for me at least, is certainly one thing to keep an eye on, and we'll get to see it throughout the season, and that's kind of the cool part, or one of the cool parts again about just the tour and tour life, and seeing these players on a week-to-week basis.
Certainly, and that was, Patrick Allen brought up so many great points and just great, things to talk about. But he mentioned that with Angie Ramirez, just doing things with the bowling ball he had never seen her do before, putting in that extra effort, that extra time to make that leap. And he's expecting big things from her this year and looking to make a few shows here. And she was she bowled pretty good on her feature pair. I think she was 217, 220, right around there.
Yeah, I think she shot 217. But yeah, prime example of a player with immense talent and skill, and we've seen it before. Of course, starred at Maryland Eastern Shore, and a national champion certainly as well. And you want to make that jump. Toured last year and get an idea of what you need to do to be successful week in and week out. She's put in the work. You see a lot of the players just kind of through social media over the last few months, just talking about what they're doing, the work they're putting in, and how excited they have been and were for this event, and of course the tour beginning as a whole for season number 2 here at the relaunch.
know it wouldn't be an extra frame broadcast without a Team Fish mention. So Brandy Sanderson, you can see it on the back of her shirt. I don't know how well it plays out on the screen there, but you can see it from here, representing Team Fish with the patch top of her shirt. So those guys always doing cool things. Always fun to see what they're up to. So give them a quick mention.
We talked about making adjustments. Lindsay Boomersheim did not have a good time in game number 1 of the second block here. 39 and 40, and now in game number 2 started to find it a little bit. Spare, and then of course now the next 6. And so she will head to the 8th frame with a 6-bagger, looking to make up some ground. Got to be out of sight, out of mind. Get that terrible struggling game out of the thought process. New pair, new thought process.
Absolutely. Short memory here in bowling.
Bowling is like the baseball closer mentality, but at all times.
Each and every game is a new save opportunity. Is that what you're saying here?
Absolutely. If you have a bad game, if you blow the save, there is no time to dwell on it. You got to move on. You'll be right back out there the next game, of course. In baseball, in this situation, you're literally right back out there the next game in seconds or minutes.
All right, so who's going to be this week's Dennis Eckersley? We're going to find out on CBS Sports Network on June 5th, or June 7th, excuse me. We'll be excited about it on June 5th. Even more on June 6th. But the show will take place June 7th, CBS Sports Network. And we do have standings up through 7. Shamplowski holds on to the lead, but her margin has been cut a little bit, 193 in the opener. She's at 16-33 for 7 games. Just 14 pins ahead of Sandra Gongora at 16-19. Rocio Restrepo 16-16. Hufenu 16-06 in 4th. Linda Barnes holds on to that 5th spot at 15-57. We mentioned Liz Johnson having a big game to start. 2:57 for her moves her into 6th place, 15:46. Kelly Kulik in 7th. She had 2:44 to start, 15:22. Brittany Himmelreich is in 8th, 15:16. Missy Parkin in 9th, 15:14. And Sherry Tan of Singapore rounds out the top 10 at 15:09. So that's plus 109. Score for the score for the player in 32nd, plus 35. Mariana Ayala, representing Puerto Rico. Currently at 14:35. That's the number with 5 to go. You mentioned Missy Parkin sitting in the top 10 so far. Missy had her appendix removed not too long ago, so glad to see her fully recovered from that. Back at it on the tour. I knew she had to take a few weeks off to recover from that, but time off not hurting her. Certainly glad to see Missy back on the tour. Was the very first player to sign up and get that PWBA card when the relaunch happened in 2015. Also the first player, or first woman to get a PBA card when they opened their doors in 2003 to let the ladies play.
Couple amateurs in the event this week, or several members. Gloria Blair, as you mentioned, Albuquerque. Angelica Green here from Superior, Colorado. Brandy Sanderson from Bossier City, Louisiana. Spare there from Green. Shot from Delante there, flat dime. Nonetheless, as Padilla will step up in the ninth frame, looking for a double. Wanted that one, she got it. Big double there, headed into the 10th frame. Sanderson there with a ball change. That one crosses over as well, but she'll take the break.
Take them when you can get them. Cash them in, that's the big thing.
Yes, indeed.
One pair to the left, Amanda Green throwing some strikes. She can get to 257. Delivers the first one in the 10th. You can see that just to the far left of the screen. She's up on lane 36. Amanda just outside of the number right now in 43rd at -9. She had a rough start to this block, 137 out of the gates, but nothing cures those blues like 240 or 250.
Well, Lindsay Boomershine, nice 269, a few pairs down the way. Rebounding from the 150 game. She shot earlier as well, so again, about making the adjustments, sometimes moving to a different pair. You find something immediately. You match up instantly as well.
Yeah, that takes her from minus 93 to minus 20 and change, so minus 24 for my quick, terrible math.
Be confident, Aaron.
I should be better at this, but subtraction stuff.
Notice I let you do that.
It's for the birds, man. but yeah, I mean that's a humongous jump, and that once again that puts her within striking range. If she can put up another effort like that, that's all of a sudden that's in the number. But yeah, some great momentum going into the halfway point. This is game 2 of 6 of the second round of qualifying at the PWBA Las Vegas Open. We're at Texas Station in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Aaron Smith alongside Emil Williams Jr. Jason Thomas, not too far away. Jason's been busy with the big camera, running around getting some videos for social media on Facebook. So if you don't follow the PWBA Tour on Facebook, please check it out. You can see all those nifty videos, some of our top bowlers so far for the day. JT doing the work. Of course, the PWBA on Twitter as well, at PWBA Tour. And of course, be sure to search out all your favorite players as well. Nice cover by Brenda, taking care of the 4-9. She can still get to even here. But on the player profiles on PWBA.com, actually has links to most of their fan pages, whether it be on Facebook, Twitter, all that fun stuff. So be sure to check that out. Not only do you get the information on them, but have the opportunity to follow them on social too. Amanda Green finished with 247 that game. So nice bounce back. 199 for Brenda Padilla. So she was in 13th with plus 98. She's just going to drop to plus 97 here, so still in very good shape to make that first cut.
Tough game 2 there for Angelica Green. She can go her way. Just a couple spares at the end. Still promising for her though. Down the road at one point. Very nice youth bowling career in Colorado. Girls high state average. The high average in the state, I should say, during her youth days. So trying to make that jump.
It's following the process.
Indeed, PWBA Tour. And it is indeed a process. Even at the highest level, I think they would they'd still say that elite level would still tell you that there is a process consistently. It's always a process. And several collegiate bowlers out in this field, of course, and on tour.
And who won on tour last year. That was something that came up during the intercollegiate team and singles championships this past week in Wichita, just how prevalent they are here in or on the PWBA Tour, I should say. just going through last year's winners. Liz Johnson had some experience back at Moorhead State. Alicia Current at Fairleigh Dickinson and Wichita State. She won in Sacramento last year. Jazriel Tan at Wichita State, winning in Lubbock. Stephanie Johnson, of course, from Central Florida, captured the PWBA Wichita Open. Liz Culkin took home the title in Topeka. She had a great career at Nebraska. Amanda Green, Lindenwood, you know something about that. Taking home the title in Lincoln. Diana Zavilova from Weber, winning in Minnesota. And of course, Danielle McEwen winning the Tour Championship with a fantastic career at Fairleigh Dickinson. And we're just talking about college bowling, and look who walks up here. The managing director of the International Youth Development, Mr. Gary Brown.
Good day, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. Did I get your title right? It seems like it changes every day.
Yeah,
so I just
close
want
enough.
close enough.
Close enough.
Well, Gary, you've had an exciting few weeks. First off, we were just mentioning the Intercollegiate Team and Singles Championships taking place in Wichita. Of course, you got to be a part of convention just a few miles over at the Orleans, and now here you are getting to see some of your former collegiate players.
Yeah, I'm truly blessed. The last 3 weeks, I got to go and watch the NCAA National Championships, watch Stephen F. Austin get crowned on live television. Then last week, obviously, our 4 championships. Won't want to give away the winners yet, but it was really exciting matches. I'd encourage everybody to watch CBS Sportsnet to make sure they watch the shows. It's just tremendous that we get to watch these young ladies aspire. Talked about it a long time, even back when I was in college in the late 90s, how they just aspired to go to the professional level. And thanks to BPA and USBC, the board of directors, they brought this back, and it's truly a blessing to come out here and watch all these young ladies evolve into the talent that they have.
Absolutely. A lot of great points there, but I have to go back. You were in college in the 90s?
I was.
Whoa.
I'm old, man. I'm getting old there. Talked to these, a lot of these kids were barely even born. I talked to about, we're out on the college ranks now. Half these girls in front of us right now, I'm looking, they all bowl collegiately. It's tremendous to be able to watch them grow up through the ranks. I've been very blessed to watch them evolve their talents from even all the way through the junior gold ranks to the collegiate ranks. That whole ladder we talk about is truly becoming to form now, especially when they have the ability to aspire to be PWBA bowlers.
Certainly so, and a few of those players you mentioned, Cassandra Luthold, part of the Nebraska program, of course, unbelievably successful on the NCAA side. Rocio Restrepo, part of Wichita State, captured a title or two over there as well, and just all over the house we have so much collegiate experience.
Yeah, I remember watching Cassandra throw the ball on TV for Nebraska and clutch to the 10th frame a couple times when they won their national championship. Rocio obviously just talented, a lot of power in her game. Got Tina Williams who bowled at Arizona State, at West Texas. And just a lot of talented young ladies out here that I've been able to be fortunate enough since being involved in college bowling and since '99 just to watch grow up through this ranks. I mean, I have my own daughter now who is fortunate enough to watch the live streams when she can, when she's not at school on the weekends. Talking about, hey, Daddy, if I get to this certain average, we can get to college. I have the opportunity to bowl collegiately and maybe watch, like Miss Shannon. She's a big fan of Shannon O'Keefe's. Watch her bowl on TV.
Certainly been a lot of fun to, as you mentioned, the ladder. I like that. We mentioned it as the process before, but I think the ladder is a cooler way of describing it because you really got to move up each tier as you go along. That first one, for many of these kids is junior gold, and that's we were talking a little bit about it at lunch and just how enormous and how big that tournament has grown. It's almost crazy to think of where it was to where it is now.
Yeah, the tiered levels we put in a few years back, a lot of people really believed it was going to be the death of that event by putting the U15 and U20 division together. And we thought it would stick around for a couple of years and maybe have to evolve down the U12. But the U15 division exploded so quickly that we actually were moving quicker than we expected to the U12. And for anybody who's not watched Junior Gold, had the ability to watch those U12 kids bowl, there's a lot of talent out there with those young ladies and young gentlemen out there. I mean, that TV show that was out there for the last year. I mean, watching Spencer and the kid from New York, it was just amazing to watch those guys. And Cameron just throw the ball. It's amazing to watch the talent those kids have at that age. It's by far better than I was, or a lot of people are at that age.
All right, Gary Brown comes to the booth. We start getting some strikes here on Extra Frame. So we had some struggles from our players in the early going of games 1 and 2 here. They got the chance to see the pattern once before, and just a little slow out of the gates though. So looks like these lanes are starting to open up a little bit, and we're getting some strikes here in the early going. That's
what I saw a little bit. I came over roughly at the end of game 1. And it was a little tough to start, opened up a little bit, and I was talking to a couple of people who are out here coaching. They said they feel like going through the afternoon about game 2, 3 to really open up, and the scores should get a little bit higher than they have been throughout the remainder of the day.
Speaking of scores, as soon as we get an update here through 8, we'll let you know. Currently scores up through 7. We have some of our local volunteers updating the scores as well.
Kind of going back to that collegiate bowling concept you're talking about, looks like 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 are all former collegiate bowlers. So from the sheet that I have in front of me, so you're looking at a lot of talent coming through, and that's really the grassroots level now to train these young ladies for the collegiate or for the professional level. Talk about a lot. That's where they're going to get a lot of skill set. Game has evolved a lot since you and I bowled back in the 90s and early 2000s. It's showing your age a little bit now too.
Oh, I appreciate that.
But that whole group, I mean, a lot of these coaches weren't exactly always coaches. But now they're going out hiring silver level coaches, getting people who have a lot of skill set, have been coaching for a while. So it's really honing the skills and the ability for these young ladies to be prepared for the tour.
And that's a great point, because as we mentioned over on 37-38, Rocio at Wichita State and Cassandra at Nebraska, and those were kind of two of the staples for so long, because they had such a phenomenal coaching system in place with Gordon Vatican and Mark Lewis at Wichita and Bill Straub and Paul Klempa at Nebraska. But yeah, just the amount of involvement, and as you mentioned for your daughter, such a big fan of Shannon O'Keefe, what her and husband Brian have been able to do at the McHenry program in just a few short years is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's interesting to see all the college bowlers who've come through the ranks. They're giving back now. You had Christina Fromm obviously win a national championship at UMES. We've had a few others come through with Brian O'Keefe and Shannon O'Keefe now coaching their programs. It's a great thing to watch our sport and the evolution and the passion these people have after they come through the collegiate ranks and really want to give back to the sport.
And then speaking of the USBC collegiate ranks, I know a big year, a banner year for you guys, eclipsing the 200 mark for the first time. That's definitely was a goal for a long time for you.
Yeah, we're very proud of the fact that we had over 200 schools this year. We had 203 schools as members for the organization. That doesn't include all the schools that are out there. Roughly, there's about 250 opportunities now for participants to bowl at the collegiate level. I have about 15 new schools coming on board next year, so we're looking in the, maybe 2 teams next year as schools. NCAA continues to grow. They have 4 new schools coming on board next year. A couple of coaches are actually silver level and gold level coaches that are taking over programs. So it's booming. I mean, when we talk about the demise of bowling, I would tell you it's not really out there. There's a lot of programs that people just don't see peripherally because they're always looking at membership numbers. But at the NCAA ranks, at the NAIA ranks, at the collegiate ranks, high school's grown 22 of the last 23 years. I mean, that's just a number that people don't realize until they're out there and look at the research at it. Just because they're not members doesn't mean they're not active. In the end, what our goal is as youth bowling is to get people in, get them committed, and get them excited.
22 out of 23 years. That is phenomenal. That was a stat that I was not even aware of. So thank you for sharing. We just know it's growing every year. We get used to it. But yeah, to put that number behind it is just that's impressive.
Yeah, boosted 2 more states roughly. Nebraska's looking to flip varsity, I believe, the next couple of years. And Alabama had their first state championships, and really, that state I worked with back in early 2000s to try and get to flip over to a varsity status. And one day, randomly, the State Athletic Association saw such a boom in bowling in general across the country at the high school level. They called up, spoke to Brian English, our high school manager, and said, we're looking to flip over to varsity. And they started working with the local association, started working with the centers, and we say the mantra, together we can, and realistically that was one of those situations where this industry came together as well as the external industry with an athletic association to build a program. So basically from scratch. There weren't a whole lot of schools there. And we were fortunate enough to attend their state championships. And by attending their state championships, Brian said it was just an amazing event. They had basically a full house of people just rocking.
That's awesome. We're hoping to do the same here at Texas Station. Definitely an awesome venue, 60 lanes across the house. Pretty much all of them filled from what we can see here. They definitely a great turnout. 89 competitors here in the opening event, and a great international field as well. And is that a direction USBC Collegiate is possibly heading down the road?
We actually are. We have our first school internationally is going to come into the program ranks next year, and that was your lead to me for Canada. We have a Canadian school that is reaching out. A gentleman named Gus Baldelli and Lee Wilkins are starting a program up there. So we're going to have our first Canadian team who will be competing completely in USBC collegiate competition. They're very excited up there about it. I know they've had a lot of talent come through with Francois Lava and with George Lambert, and also with obviously Graham Faw. So they've had a lot of talented Zach Wilkins, who also bowled up in that region at Notre Dame College. Just a lot of talented kids have come through those ranks. Just didn't have the opportunity in Canada. And they're looking forward to creating a program and kind of keeping it in the house. As I told them, 10 years from now, maybe they're not part of the USBC collegiate program, and in the end, that's good. That means that country has enough schools to sustain a collegiate bowling ranks.
Some awesome stuff. We're joined by Gary Brown, the Managing Director of Youth Development at the IBC, International Bowling Campus. And we're in game number 3 of 6 here in the second round qualifying at the Las Vegas Open, the opening event of the PWBA Tour season here at Texas Station in Las Vegas. Since we're on the collegiate theme, Emil Williams Jr. doing work and the searching. Don't want to leave out Catherine Rosthorn, bowled for Adelphi, and that's an NCAA program.
Yeah, they've actually been members of both. They made it to our national championships on the ITC side of it a few years back as well.
She was a runner-up at the 2009 Teen Masters, lost to someone named Danielle McEwen. Have you heard of her?
She's pretty good. She made our singles, I think, 2 years ago, and qualified for there from the sectional ranks, and she's just obviously truly talented. She's got a great physical game, something that I think anybody should envy, that talent that she has. I'm looking over on that same pair just to the right of Catherine, and Danita Falbo's off there as well, bowled collegiately at UMES. Just all over the place. Tennille Milligan and I, going off that theme, we're just talking about we need to do a research and really find out how many of these young ladies came through the collegiate ranks and either bowled at an NCAA school, an NEIA school, a club school, wherever they came, and kind of make that a big prominent piece for us for the next upcoming season.
And right before you came on, we were actually going through the 2015 champions list on the PWBA Tour, and yeah, that was pretty well represented, to say the least. I think just about every champion had some form of collegiate bowling experience or time, and usually if you do pretty well in there, it translates to success out here. So that's got to be exciting, not only for the players coming up, but for the players already out here, that they're going to continue to get pushed, and this tour is just going to grow bigger and bigger. We talk about skill development a lot at the collegiate level. We're working on a lot of things to actually, between junior gold and the collegiate level, to model a little bit off the PWBA. At junior gold this year, we're doing requiring them to fill out ball cards similar to what the PWBA ranks are doing. We're changing our actually attire to match what PWBA does. So we're putting a lot of pieces in here that are matching up to PWBA on the women's side, because they never really had that carrot. I've always had a carrot there to go bowl, but it's been PBA stuff. Now, nothing's wrong with the PBA side of it, but obviously they want to aspire to be professional women bowlers. And on that side of it, we're modeling ourselves at the lower ranks to train them a little bit better now
to get them prepared for when they get to the PWBA. So it's not such a shock to them when they get there, because it's a culture shock. It's a different level of talent you have out there. They break the lanes down better because they're they're better bowlers. They can read patterns. They have coaching throughout the collegiate ranks. So we're looking at grooming them from the grassroots level, from the U12 all the way through the collegiate level up to the PWBA.
So we talked a lot about today, with this being the opening event, just the excitement of the tour starting up again for, a lot of these ladies were here in 2015, and we announced the schedule. It seems like it was years ago when we announced the schedule. We've been looking forward to this for so long, but it's almost got I'm excited about it, and I'm back here watching, and so it almost has that, I don't know for you if it has that kind of beginning of the season feel for USBC Collegiate. When it starts going through that, you get those first few events underway. The Midwest Collegiate all of a sudden is up, and it's go time. It's just like that, and all of a sudden you're rolling into it.
Yeah, I mean, these ladies are obviously amped up about it. This is my first PWBA event, actually. Wasn't able to go to that because of some travel things. Right after convention, we're leaving to bowl the Open Championships tomorrow, and decided to stick around because I wanted to see it. I mean, it's an exciting time. Seeing a lot of familiar faces, a lot of success that's out there from all the ranks included. So, I mean, it's opening day. This is baseball season. It's opening day. It's the first pitch. They get to go out there, and it's nothing better than being able to come out here and watch these talented young ladies just score. I mean, you mentioned before the past champions being from the collegiate ranks. There's also a lot of former PWBA players out here who've had a lot of success. So it's nice to see that blend of former PWBA players when the tour went away several years ago, and the new breed kind of coming out, and just the camaraderie and the partnerships that they had. If you follow the Facebook page, you see a lot of selfies with the whole group of them. So there's a lot of blending where it's not uber competitive, where they're not becoming friends. I mean, first and foremost, they're going to be friends out on tour. They spend a lot of time together out there.
Yeah, certainly a new adjustment for a lot of them heading into last year, but now that they got a feel for what the tour life is like, and just the wear and tear, and for a lot of people it was just as much physically draining as it was emotionally and mentally. I mean, that's a brand new feel for a lot of these players. So getting the opportunity to get that first year in, and can definitely make arrangements. I know we talked to Danielle McEwen right at the end of the tour. Tough break for Rocio. They're leaving the 5-7. Wow, that's something I would leave, not her. But yeah, and talking to Danielle, I mean, just the weekly aspect of going out and competing was just taking a different toll. But apparently that has helped her as well, because she's probably one of the sharpest players out there, and she won everything after taking the tour championship title back in Arlington, and it's been fun to watch.
I mean, it's a grind. I mean, it just truly is. Just think of working 5 days a week, going back to work for a second job. I mean, it's 7 days a week that they're really out here working for some of these young ladies. Real close there for Rocio to get that. But, they're working 7 days a week. They have families at home. They have, spouses, boyfriends, whatever it may be at home. And it's a tough life living out of a suitcase. It just really is. You get to go back home. You may be working, to make up for the day you're off. You may be working 4/12s. So it's a long day for them sometimes to go out there and do what they're doing. The beauty of this is it's summer. So I know a few of them are teachers that I've spoke with. So they get to take off the summer and they can go out on tour and have the time. Some of them are coaches on the site. Some of them are pro shop operators where it's a little bit slower in the summer for them. So that's the beauty of this tour, is it really doesn't impact sometimes their overall work life.
And that was definitely the idea behind the relaunch, was not to necessarily inconvenience too many folks, with most of the events taking place having that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or in this instance Saturday, Sunday. So hopefully can get back to work, do that for a few days, and then come out on the weekends and compete with the best in the world.
And it kind of, it relates to me a little bit, like we talk about college. College bowling, you're leaving on Fridays, going to bowl a tournament on Saturday, Sunday. So you're working, you may be going to school 5 days a week, 4 days a week. So that, again, talking about how we're training these student athletes and PWBA participants to groom themselves for the tour, that piece that is there for college bowling really does that. The NCAA competes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they're competing 3 days a week, going to school 4 days a week. A lot of the USBC events are competing on Saturday, Sunday. So that training they're also getting is getting their bodies and their minds set to reset, right before a competition, because you may have an off week. You can't have too many off weeks. It's just not going to help you out through the year and for the tour championship.
Absolutely. The Tour Championship, once again, an invitation-only event for those who have performed throughout the season. First and foremost, going to Tour champions who are PWBA members, and then it goes to the point list, and that's how Danielle McEwen ended up making it and ended up winning the whole thing through consistent performances throughout the 2015 season. And we're excited to see who's going to make the leap here in 2016. I know there's, especially with the NCAA ranks, their rules a little bit stricter than USBC Collegiate as far as what they can and cannot compete in. And of course, we get a brand new, essentially recruiting class every year to the PWBA for all those seniors out there. So is there anyone in the recent years that just finished up on the NCAA side that is going to make it out, or maybe in the next year or two, that you're looking forward to see out here?
I mean, you can always look back at the ranks of like our 4 singles finalists from the ISCs. They're all really talented young ladies. And even the ones who were eliminated in the round before, we had a great match between Emily Eckhoff and Julia Bond, where it was a 300 to 290 match. Ended up at the very end going 792 versus 782. So Emily Eckhoff shoots 792 to get to the show, and Julia Bond shoots 782 to miss it. Emily obviously has a lot of talent. She's come out here on tour a little bit. Verity Crowley led the Queens, I believe, last year.
That's correct, yep.
I mean, just a lot of talent when you look at the pool. They're going out there and they're competing with these young ladies and the PWBA participants out there. They have the opportunity to do it as an amateur. It's kind of a nice piece that they have. NCAA allows for it. We allow for it as the USBC collegiate side of it. It's just a nice thing to give them a little bit of feel and a little bit of a taste. Not quite their full grind, but a little bit of taste to sample it to see how much better they need to get their games to be.
And that was an interesting point in talking to Patrick Allen earlier today. We'll go to the opposite spectrum. We're kind of talking about some of the past PWBA members, the Carolyn Dorn-Ballards. We have Wendy McPherson out here, Leanne Holzenberg. Those who found success back when the tour was rolling back in 1990s, early 2000s, and then coming back on tour. I know Carolyn specifically, Matt Canzaro had an excellent article with Carolyn kind of chronicling this, just how much the players have improved and just how much they had to up their game because these young players are putting in the time, putting in the effort to reach their status. They want to be the next Carolyn Dorn-Ballard, the next Leanne Holzenberg, and they've pushed them to get better, and that's so exciting that kind of competition is just in front of us each and every week now.
Yeah, I think a lot of the mentality, at least that I was hearing, is that some of the guard who had bowled previously may have an advantage because they were used to that life on the road. But I think exactly what you said is that I think some of the guard that was out there realized how talented and how much the coaching coming up that has evolved this sport. I mean, I can, again, back in the 90s, I can tell you we didn't quite understand the full characteristics of a bowling ball. Maybe we didn't realize where a pin placement would help or surface adjustments. It was a piece of our game, but now just the knowledge that they all have. I talked on a recent report or a recent interview about how the game's changed since I started realistically in 93, and I said, simply put, they're smarter than we were. They understand, they grew up with the game, they're understanding drillings and all those pieces that we just didn't understand. It's now is it weight blocks, is it surface, is it certain things or aspects of the ball that we just didn't know, and it's huge help I think as they come into these ranks. Speaking of a legend right there, Tish Johnson coming to the pair.
Absolutely. Tish, 25-time PWBA champion. Always fun to see Tish. I think she got the biggest applause at convention yesterday when they were introducing the PWBA players, so that was definitely fun to see.
It sends chills down your back. If anybody who didn't watch the video yesterday, go back and watch day 2, second session of the annual meeting, and it's just to watch these ladies walk up on stage, announce what local association they're from, and just to see the excitement that they have for this, and they love it. I mean, they're just so glad just to have a tour to bowl on, and again, said it before, thanks to the BPA board, USBC's board, to having the foresight to bring this back. It sent chills up my spine to watch the video, that Jason Thomas put together and all the things he's done over the year. I mean, I remember vividly watching this stuff watching the PWBA and the tour on ESPN. I have a PWBA spare ball in my house that I left undrilled because it was still special to me growing up that to watch these ladies bowl. I've been bowling since I've been very young. Grew up in a bowling center and a bowling family. So for me to have legends like you just mentioned, Linda Barnes and Karen Doran Ballard, and actually meet them and see them out here on the lanes is really takes me back to my childhood a little bit, because it's amazing to watch them.
I know for Linda, she was the first one introduced during all that. She actually had her phone out. She was recording it all as it was happening. So definitely some excitement, and of course, very cool. Just the feel, like you said, you get chills thinking about it. It's so exciting to have this platform once again for the ladies, and we're excited to bring it. 191 for Rocio. Cassandra can still get to 202. Lilia, 184 her max. Tina Williams, 196. Catherine Rosthorn, one more shot to go. She's going to make a ball change here. Can get to 198. So what do you think about the scoring pace here so far, Gary? That first block took 240 to lead. That's
a big number. I'm not sure I've averaged 240 for a long time. So, it's not an easy pattern out there. I saw a little bit of it, and I talked to Gus a little bit about it. And, he firmly believed that probably would open up this second half. I mean, 258 over by Shannon is a big number. I mean, 232, 228, in that range is pretty big. I mean, but again, you're looking at some of the guard that's coming up, and it's amazing to see these numbers that they can put up. I mean, it's not an easy shot. I hate to tell you, if you put this out at home, most of us probably would be average 220 in leagues and things like that. We're probably averaging 190s. So it just shows the talent that they have and the adjustments that they can make to these patterns.
Certainly so. We do have standings now up online after 8. As Gary mentioned, Shannon Pluhowski still on top of the standings, plus 258. That's an 18-58 total for her 8 games. Rocio in second, plus 224. Sandra Gongora, plus 221. Linda Barnes in fourth at plus 203. Hugh Fanu from Singapore rounds out the top 5, plus 191.
Aaron, since you've been out in the game watching a little bit more, and I have on the international circuit, how much different is the game internationally than locally?
It's impressive, and if from a lot of the stuff we do here or do with Bowl TV with Team USA, and it certainly seemed like for a while there that, especially once they allowed the professionals to come on Team USA, that everyone kind of assumed Team USA is just going to win everything, putting together dream teams. It was like 92 basketball all over again. But I mean, and we can see it in the international field just here, but even on the men's side, the guys definitely have to work at it, because the international field is so strong nowadays. I was talking with Patrick Allen earlier just about the talent of the players from Singapore, not only on the women's side but on the men's side as well, and they're not going anywhere. They're here to stay. And just the overall international impact that we've felt, it's definitely fun that it is a world game. It's been that way for a long time. It's much more prominent nowadays, with the likes of who you get to see on the PBA and PWBA tours, the Jason Belmontes, the Stu Williams, Dom Barrett's on the ladies' side, Diana Zavilova. We have Clara Guerrero.
Yeah, didn't they mention Jesper Svensson the other day as the youngest person to ever win 4 titles? I mean, just a powerful two-handed lefty coming up, and didn't hear a lot about him when the World Youth, and then came out, and it's been pretty good out on tour.
That guy likes striking with authority.
He has a lot of rev rate, that is for sure. I mean, that international game, the reason I kind of was leading to that is because if you guys get a chance to watch the women's telecast for the ITC, it's very internationally dominant.
Very
Or
true.
A lot of female bowlers who are from the international side are coming over to get their education and coaching from the talented coaches over here right now.
Between Weber and Wichita State, yeah, there was great representation. We had bowlers from Scotland, from England, from Russia, Poland, everywhere.
And a lot of them on their international team, their teams from their country. I think that's what's amazing to me. As the game is a little bit evolved as well, is you're seeing more and more female athletes come over from overseas, getting that coaching, going back and taking that coaching, and I think probably sharing it with their team. You know, they're getting a lot of experience on tougher lane patterns. Collegiate ladies move towards that position. And that really helps, I think, in the long run.
All right, game number 4 already underway on 37-38. Brianna Cote, Josie Ernest, and Carrie Smith. Brianna had a pretty nice collegiate career.
Yeah, she was. All three of them were pretty good collegiate bowlers. If you look at that group, you look at that whole pair there, you look at the pair next to them, former collegiate bowlers. Look one pair over, you got at least 2 I could see in front of me on that next pair over. So, it is surely a feeding system for this piece where, it's nice to see and talk to the student athletes at the collegiate level, even at the high school level, at junior gold. I can tell you at junior gold, we do a trade show there. And the female athletes last year being there, signing autographs, those type of things, it's neat. I'm sure you covered the fact that at the USBC convention where they had them all out there lined up in a row signing autographs, and how many people were there just proud to support and have the autographs. I mean, I know I went to go eat, came back, helped with the signing board, helped with a couple of things. That's an hour later and there's still a line going. So there was a long line for them to do it. These ladies were so gracious, took their time out, obviously, to sign all those pieces. It was amazing to see that.
Once again, this is Aaron Smith alongside Gary Brown, the Managing Director of Youth Development at the International Bowling Campus. This is game 4 out of 6, so we're hitting the home stretch here at the 2016 PWBA Las Vegas Open, the opening event. It's opening day, as you said, Gary. So 3 more games of qualifying before we know the top 32 advancing to tomorrow's Cashers round. We already mentioned the bowlers on 37 and 38. Over on 39 and 40, the Hall of Famer, Tish Johnson, going to be stepping up on lane 40 to kick things off. She's joined by Liz Culkin, the 2015 PWBA Topeka Open winner, who had an outstanding career at Nebraska. Their third bowler, Takiko Naganawa, joining us from Japan. True story, Gary. I got to interview Takiko in 2012 at the USBC Women's Championships. So she made the trip over with a pretty big group. They plan everything out. They hit a few events while they're stateside, and it's great to see them again here.
Looks like she has a pretty smooth game. I know that a lot of times one of the teams comes over, they set up a lot of their trips to pigeonhole around the events that we have on the women's side. And you also get trained at the ITRC from Rod Ross and Kim Kearney and that whole group that's out there.
Yeah, definitely one of the cool things about the ITRC, you see the flags hanging over the lanes from all the countries that have been represented that have received training there over the years. As Tish calmly covers the 2-4-7-8. Definitely not a fun spare to shoot at out here, but she makes it look easy. Josie Ernest stepping up on lane 38. A member of Team USA along with Brianna.
Kind of mentioned earlier, coaches who are giving back or players who've given back have come through the collegiate ranks. Josie obviously is the assistant coach at Vanderbilt. I see her every year at the national championships and get to talk to her frequently when I go out down to Smyrna, where their home center is, for my sectional down there. So another player giving back to the game.
Josie was the most valuable player at the 2007 NCAA Women's Bowling Championships as she helped Vanderbilt capture the title. Was also the NTCA Player of the Year in 2008 and 2009. So once again, giving back, had a phenomenal collegiate career. And now she has the opportunity, especially with the way the tour schedule works. She gets had the season end just a few weeks ago, and now gets the opportunity to rest up, get her practice in.
After that show was pretty exciting. I was fortunate enough to go watch it. Just neat to see see the talent that they have out there. Watching the Stephen F. Austin win the first national championship for their school, and actually where she coaches at, and a part of that team was the first national championship for Vanderbilt as well. So a lot of schools are adding it because they see it as the ability to bring student athletes in, but also see it's an under-recruited event or sport that we have. So they're seeing the ability to go out and recruit talented student athletes because it's just not a whole lot of programs out there in that time frame. I mean, around then we probably had about 160 total schools out there. Roughly now we're about 250.
And definitely one of the most impressive parts, I think, is the quickness that you can build a program. And it's, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, that it's, not just someone from the school kind of babysitting. It's silver level coaches, it's gold level coaches going out there and doing the work, putting in the time to help these programs succeed to the next level. And so many of them have been able to put something together fairly quickly and find themselves contending for a title. We just had Ashley Galante on. She was part of that Weber team in 2010. That was their first year, and they won the ITC title.
Yeah, she won 2 titles. She won one at Pikeville, took a year off, went to Weber, won a title there. So it's pretty amazing to see winning back-to-back titles basically at schools, at 2 different schools. It's almost unprecedented for what she did there. But yeah, building a program is pretty simple. I mean, we get calls all the time about it. Right before I left was pretty unique because I had about 3 calls in the same week about new schools, all of them offering opportunities for men on the NAI level and also on the NCAA level for female student athletes for scholarships. Just something that didn't happen. When I started bowling in roughly 1993, there just were not a whole lot of opportunities for scholarships. At NAI level now you got 40 plus schools that are offering scholarships for both men and women. You've got the NCAA with 65 or so schools that are offering scholarships to the female student athletes, and even some club schools that people aren't aware of, they offer scholarships. So all those levels that we have are continuing to grow. NJCA last year had one of their largest events they've had for a long time at Airport Lanes. Just amazing to see the growth we're having, and talked about before that 22 out of 23 years of growth, that junior gold growth. All those things are feeder systems. Those are great feeder systems to keep student athletes in the sport longer. And the nice thing about what we do with all those things, it's really a conduit to getting an education. I mean, I am any student athlete who could tell you who's not done well in school has called me, I will talk to them like a child, like they're my own child. I'll say, education is the most important thing. And so when they call and ask me, I have this GPA, can I bowl? No, you really should be concentrating on your books. So the sport that we're in here is also a great conduit to getting your education.
Certainly so many great opportunities, not only through the colleges themselves that give away scholarships, but through the SMART program too. The ability to, through events like Junior Gold and other youth events held throughout the country by all the great youth directors just everywhere, just to have the ability to kind of build a nest egg to go to college is cool in its own right, and then to be able to compete as well is just a phenomenal opportunity for all the kids out there.
Yeah, there's 190,000 recipients, they said at the convention, in the SMART program. It was a big issue prior to us becoming the NGB. So part of USBC's, the beauty of what happened with USBC in 2005 is that ability gave NCAA student athletes really the ability to earn scholarships and use them once they got beyond once they got into college. Beforehand, they couldn't do it. But now, because we're an NGB and it was sort of one of their bylaws that allows them to use it up to actual necessary, full granting age, what it's called. So they have the ability to use it. It was not there before. They actually had to relinquish those funds. Now they can keep it even through school. If they're getting a full ride, they can keep it and go to graduate school. So a lot of those changes when USBC came about in 2005 really stimulated that piece.
That's when you mentioned the graduate school part and just working on the program for the ITC. So many of those kids are continuing their education in that route, and for some of them, that's one more year to bowl, perhaps, or a chance to go to another school and find success. And right now, finding success, Liz Culkin, 5 for 5 here in game number 4 to kick things off on extra frame.
Yeah, we had a graduate student who bowled both on the ISC finals and the team finals. You mentioned before, Tanya Vollmer, who bowled both of those events. So that experience, she won a national championship with the Robert Morris. I was able to transfer into after graduating into Weber. That just gave her the ability to use some of her scholarships probably that she had there, or the ability to continue her education. See what Liz does here, stepping up for 6 in a row.
Liz spent time on Junior Team USA while at Nebraska. Helped the Cornhuskers to 2 national championships in 2013 and 2015. At 2015, her senior year, was named the NTCA Division I Player of the Year. And we got the opportunity to see her a few times throughout, specifically just through live streaming efforts and traveling to a few events. The Cat Clash, as well as the Prairie View A&M Invitational back in Arlington. And we got to see Liz throw some big shots, and you almost expect her to strike in those. That's just how tough she is, and she exhibited that last year on tour, claiming a title in her rookie season.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy to be a player of the year in Division I collegiate bowling for NCAA, so that's quite an achievement. They have a sophomore who won it this year, Stephanie Schwartz from Stephen F. Austin. It just throws a real powerful ball, and she's going to be a talent probably in the future in this ranks. Oh,
Slaps out the late 9. Taking care of business, Liz Culkin. As a member of Junior Team USA, she won 1 gold medal and 2 bronze at the 2014 World Bowling Youth Championships.
It's obviously a big game for her to make a push to try and get into the cut, I would assume.
Yeah, plus 44. Standings still updated through 8, so as soon as we get them through 9, we'll let you know. But that number 4, the 32nd spot, was at plus 34 through 8 games.
So it's a get her a good push maybe into the top to the second cut in that realm.
Absolutely. Definitely want to give yourself a little bit of cushion for tomorrow. We're taking 32, then we're cutting to 12 after 6 games, so definitely want to get as many as you can. All pins carry over. So yeah, when you find a pair that's giving you something good, you gotta take advantage of it out here. These players are that good that, you know, if you have an opportunity to put up a 250, a 260, and not let it turn into a 215 or a 220, that's the difference between making a check, making that second cut, making it to match play.
And just like any center that's out there, you know, this being 60 lanes across, I'm sure each bay plays a little bit differently. So when you get in that bay where you can, you know, accumulate that good score, it really helps move you up the ranks.
All right, Liz will be stepping up on lane 40 in just a moment. Ball in hand already. Just waiting for it to be her turn to step up. Nothing too crazy going on 37 and 38 right now. An open or 2 from each player. So far through the halfway point, Carrie Smith almost leaves the 7-10, gets the 10 out. Liz doesn't get that one to make it back quite all the way, leaves the 2-4-5, but front 6, good start to any game especially out here in these tough conditions.
It just shows you how good she's bowling when you just said, look at the pairs around her. Scores a little bit below that, right on par with her, been bowling all day, but shows you how good an execution she's had this game.
Yeah, Liz got out to a fantastic start, 254, 257, and 226, but found some struggles in her final 3 games of the block, 190, 192, 179. Plus 98, still plenty ahead of the cut at the time, but did not find the same success on the fresh. 150, 183 to start, so this is getting back to what she was doing early on. We talked a little bit about, or at least we mentioned Brianna Cote, formerly Brianna Caldwell, and her success at Central Missouri. 4-time NTCA Player of the Year. So that's maxing out.
That's pretty good. That's pretty tough to beat that, obviously, because you only get 4 years of eligibility. So I know she had just a storied career in the NCAA ranks. She came up through the ranks and had a lot of success at Central Missouri. Didn't really say put them on the map, but helped bring a lot of good players through that ranks. I saw Tania Falbo and her sister Justine bowled there as well. She just finished up, I believe, this year. Central Missouri. She transferred over there out of UMES. And that was, it just shows you that school has a lot of good coaching, a lot of good players have come through there as well.
And certainly some history there, and a lot of that courtesy of Brianna.
Top eight team again this year, made it to the NCAA finals. I've been there at least this last 7 or 8 years, and I believe they've been at the NCAA championships all 7 or 8 of those years.
The Jennies certainly do find a good way to recruit these top talents. I know Mary Wells was there recently, and definitely a top-notch program. So we'll see how Liz bounces back here after the 245 in the 7th.
Looks good.
She liked that one off her hand. Never a doubt, money in the bank.
Yeah, it looked like on the other lane, it just got a little bit outside of it, never just made the corner. But yeah, you're talking about, Ron Holmes, who's the coach there at Central Missouri, was really an integral part of starting up college bowling. He and Jeannie Klashevsky went out and just pounded the pavement to try and get NCAA bowling in full force. They worked a lot with the historically black colleges and universities to form collegiate bowling programs, and also picked up a few other schools. So Ron, obviously, we owe a lot of our gratitude towards him as not just a coach, but also as an ambassador for our program, going out and helping build the NCAA bowling in general.
Once again, we're getting some great insight from the youth side of things from Gary Brown, the Managing Director of Youth Development at the International Bowling Campus in Arlington, Texas, joining us here on Extra Frame. Some struggles for Tish today, minus 121 heading into this game, but having a little fun there. She's been at this for a while. She's done some work here on the PWBA Tour. 25-time champion, a Hall of Famer. But having a little fun there with the strike in the 8th, but minus 121 is we're used to seeing her at plus 121, so not the start she was hoping for to kick off the 2016 season.
It's a long season. She'll be back, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Just looking over, talking about the collegiate links, obviously Carrie Smith had a great career at Shippensburg University, ended up bringing them, I believe, to the ITCs one year. She had a lot of success there. Another talented bowler just coming through the ranks at a smaller school, schools that people don't normally hear about, don't know much, don't have much information about, but she had a really talented career through the collegiate ranks at Shippensburg.
That shot comes up light once again on the right lane for Culkin, but still has the opportunity to get into the 250s with a conversion. Some big scores, a few pairs to our right. Cassandra Luthold and Rocio Restrepo. We just saw them last game here on Extra Frame. Rocio thinking 290 this game, stepping up in the 10th. Cassandra had the opportunity to be in the 240s, stepping into the 10th.
Yes, Rocio did not enjoy that 5-7.
I know that, and the fact that we mentioned it as well, and comparing something that she would leave to something that I would leave, as you would see on Wednesday nights back in Arlington. But
a couple times a game.
A couple times a game. You would think I'd be better at shooting the spare after leaving it so often, but some big numbers going on down there. Both of them well within the number. Looking to put themselves in good position to make the top 12.
But as you mentioned, it's not just putting yourself within the first cut, it's getting yourself well within and give you a little bit of room when you go to the second cut as well.
Certainly so. A lot can happen in 6 games, both good and bad. And then a pretty unique format change this year. I'll see your opinions on it, Gary, as someone who manages and is involved in so many tournaments, and what do you think about this whole group step ladder? We after we get down to 12, we have 2 groups essentially of round robin match play. We get down to the final position round, and the top seed automatically makes it onto the show. And then we have new this year the group step ladder, where the 2, 3, and 4 seeds all of a sudden have the opportunity to make the show 2 in each group, and they square off right here, and we'll have that live on Extra Frame. And then it really gives the opportunity to give so many more players the opportunity to make it to that next level. So going into that final group, we have a total of 8 players who can make the show. 2 of them already have their tickets stamped through leading it, but definitely a unique opportunity, especially for someone who, sneaks into that 4th spot, and all of a sudden still make a TV show and have a chance to win. That's pretty awesome.
Well, anytime it's a one-game match play situation, anybody can win. So it adds a lot of excitement to the tournament. It's sort of like I think the Masters and Queens have that Final 4. Nice cover over there by Josie. But seeing that part of it, it's a lot of excitement. It gives more opportunity for more players to be seen on live stream and TV, that type of situation. It's just a nice thing. Looks like Rocio's got one more for 290 down there.
Looks like she's already at plus 215 according to the scorer up there. So that's a lot. That might be enough to move her into the lead. She's been hovering around the top spot all day. Will it be enough to overtake the lead? And we'll have to wait and see. Liz Culkin's going to be in the 250s here. I think she'll be okay if she doesn't have to leave this pair.
Yeah. She's clapping. 6 count.
The ever popular 286 from Rocio.
Not exactly the norm of a number we leave, but I would take it any day of the week.
Absolutely. As you expect, Josie Ernest cashes in the nice spare conversion of the 210 in the 9th. Turns in a strike on her next opportunity.
And it looks like Brianna made a good move. Good adjustment after the open there in the 4th frame. Started finding her groove out there.
Still get to 225. That would get her on the correct side of plus. She's going to be making a run in these last 2 games to work her way into the top 32. Talked a lot about Central Missouri and Nebraska today. They're the only 2 teams to make the NCAA tournament since its inception in 2004. So those programs staples of that top 8.
Two very strong programs, that's for sure. Started, really had success before as part of the USBC Collegiate program, and then obviously evolved into the schools adopted as an NCAA program. So they had a lot of talented student athletes coming in before that. So it doesn't surprise me in that case that those two have had such longevity and strength in the collegiate bowling ranks at the NCAA side. Two great coaches leading the programs. That always helps as well.
We have our final few shots here of game number 4. Tish Johnson wrapping things up on 39 and 40. Once again, Liz Culkin leading the way, 257. That'll get her to plus 101. Takiko Naganawa, some struggles, 147. Tish can still get to 196. For Brianna, 224. She'll be at plus 8 now. Carrie Smith just didn't get things going this game. Just one strike so far. She can throw 3 in the 10th to get to 189, 180 for Josie Ernest.
Still keeps her on the cut line. So it's 3 big games to finish. They're still on with that first cut. It's the mentality you have to have going in, get all the points you can out of this game, and then move on to the next pair. And you just saw where they're moving to. There were 2 really big scores. It was a 290 and a 230 or 240 over there. So they're moving over to a pretty good pair after this.
Yeah, certainly have to have a short memory here in this type of format. Both ways. I mean, when you shoot a game like 257, like we just saw, obviously you're throwing the ball well. It's everything's, your timing's good, ball's coming off your hand clean, you're seeing the lanes the right way, but once again, that next pair, you never know. And same thing if you have a rough game. It's you got to forget that the missed spares perhaps, or just the lack of execution. You got to bring it back for the next game.
And I'm sure they've been following the same grouping all day long. They probably know how the lanes broke down a little bit. They're able to go down there. Had a couple of people watching it. They probably watched the last few shots. Going to go over there and make a good start from this next pair for them.
All right, Gary. Carrie Smith is going to finish things up for us here. One final shot of game number 4. As players begin to move around, get prepared for the final 2. It always strikes on the fill ball after a game with a lot of 9 counts like she had. Get to 178, so game number 4 in the books. Game 5 coming up next here. Gary, you sticking around?
I'm going to head out. I'm going to go over and work on a few things for Junior Gold and get it prepped up and hopefully get the 3,400 kids that we can for this year at the tournament.
Excellent. Well, Gary, thank you so much for joining us here on Bowl TV on Extra Frame here for the 2016 PWBA Las Vegas Open. We got to talk about so many great things today and all the great development and building a future for the sport through the youth program. So just a big thank you to everything you and your department does for bowling.
Thank you guys too. We appreciate you coming out to ITCs last week and struggling through a little bit of internet issues that we had, but it was, in the end it was a great show for everybody, and can't wait till everybody gets to watch the final shows on ESPN, or sorry, on CBS Sportsnet, and then we'll get there. We'll get it going here.
All right, Gary, thanks again. Once again, that was Gary Brown, the Managing Director of Youth Development at the International Bowling Campus, joining us for a few games. Game number 5 is going to be coming up next as soon as our competitors get to the lanes. So while we have a few moments, don't go too far. Emil Williams Jr. is getting ready to queue up a little bit of a video here for us. This is the 2015 PWBA season in review.
PWBA Storm Sacramento Open champion. Stephanie is headed home to Chris and Levi with a trophy and a check and a spot on the PWBA Tour Championship. And Amanda Green is your winner this week in Lincoln. Diana Zavialova is your champion. Liz Johnson, your winner this week in Detroit.
He don't consider it cheating now. Repeating now.
All right, folks, welcome back. The PWBA Las Vegas Open continues here. Game 5 now underway. Jazreel Tan, new USBC Hall of Famer Kim Adler on the featured pair, along with Jody Wosner, Katie Sutphin, Leanne Holstenberg, and Daphne Tan. So a good mix of youth, experience, and Hall of Famers at this point. And speaking of that, I'd like to introduce and bring into the booth Mr. Frank Socio.
How are you?
I'm doing well, sir.
Things good?
Yes, sir. Frank running at the helm of the BPAA. So, sir, you've had an opportunity to watch a little bowling so
Yes,
far
I have.
today. It's been exciting. And what have you seen so far?
I think the athleticism of these ladies is incredible. So my favorite thing I'm watching bowling is watching the bowling, but watching of the interaction between the ball reps and the players. I think that's just how they coach, how they work together. To me, is just incredible to watch.
We've seen some phenomenal bowling thus far, and of course that will only continue. Updated standings after 9 games. Sandra Gongora still in the top spots. Plus 280 again after 9 against Shannon Puhowski. Those two have been trading the top spot a little bit throughout the day. Shannon at plus 261. Linda Barnes has been a mainstay in the top 3 this afternoon and this morning as well. Plus 247. Rocio Restrepo with plus 215. She just got a big 286. And so that may be enough to move her into the lead. So we will see, of course, once the official standings are rolling on. But, of course, Frank, at the helm, and we mentioned the BPAA. Talk a little bit about the BPAA's role, of course, and kind of the relaunch of the PWBA Tour and what you hope to see for this tour in the future as it progresses.
Oh, well, thanks. When the campus decided to at least research it, I mean, we researched the women's tour for at least 4 or 5 years, and then we had a chance a year ago to partner with USBC and BPA as a campus to roll out a tour, formed a task force. Task force came back with some great points, great strategic direction. We made it affordable. We didn't very much worry about TV here one. If we had an extra money, we felt it needed to go to the women and not necessarily for TV. So even though we televised 3 shows and we've done extra frame, and that's been great, and we're doing the live streaming is still great. We'd rather let the girls make a better living with the money. And then this year we get lucky and we're going to show all. Again, to watch for, 7-8 years, the continual growth in collegiate bowling. I mean, this year, more collegiate teams than in the history of bowling and NCAA bowling, and no place for these ladies at least have a chance to go have some competition and participate. So we were glad when we rolled it out. We were very happy with year 1. I'd say we're happy with year 2 as it starts off. A couple new sponsors have stepped in, even though that's not part of our it's not part of our business model. If we end up with, we try to put a little bit more money in, we'll have some TV this year. We're very happy. And I think in the future is to have a stable tournament, a stable professional women's sports, professional women's bowling, that we're not worried, that nobody next year is saying, oh, are we going to have a tour? We want to have stability. That's what it's about for us. Yeah. If we can add some more tournaments and still do that, great. If not, we'll keep it to 12. We'll continually invest, but we really need to bring stability, because I think that's where a lot of people get hurt. Oh, are they going to be back? And I think you hear that in the WNBA. You hear that in the new lacrosse league. So we're pretty happy, and that is my whole goal. I mean, it might be simplistic at heart, but a stable tour going forward after next year.
Yeah, absolutely, and the stability part, and obviously the inspiration for youth players, because many of these players now, of course, were young tykes once the tour had ended, but realized and remember seeing, Carolyn Dorn-Ballard on TV just dominating, Tish Johnson dominating, and all of those, great women, and then to kind of have that void essentially for a period of time. And now it's almost like they've skipped. There's a brief generation that skipped, and we get to merge those two at this point, which has been pretty fun to watch so far.
We had I attended the USBC delegates meeting and was there when Alberta Crow scholarship winner won senior. And after we're there, they had we probably had 30 of the ladies signing autographs, and I ran into her in the hallway, and I said, "So what do you think of this?" I said, "Congratulations." She goes, "This is what I want to do. I want to be one of those ladies signing the autographs next year." And you look up, I get a little on me right now just thinking about it. It's great. It gives these great athletes a place to go, and they can make a decent living. I mean, I'm not going to get rich, but they can make a good living. And as the tour grows, we should have money grow.
The opportunity.
The opportunity to make more money, absolutely. Yeah. And some of them do, but there's some great ball contracts that are out there with these ladies, and they're doing a lot to grow women's bowling by the appearances they're making across the country in bowling centers and at different areas of the country where they get to go meet people. So we're excited. And I'm looking at the list here, and to see 2 international women in the top 10, that says a lot.
Yeah, we've talked about the international portion of the field throughout our broadcast today, and not that we're intentionally saying it. It just is, truth that the international women are great. Every woman here is, the entire field is fantastic, but the growth domestically and of course internationally, we get the best of both worlds. And no pun intended, but we do.
Yeah, I agree. It was funny. Another thing we were talking about was at the beginning of that tour last year, we were all, everybody was we had a team players meeting, and Chad and I were walking out, and I said to myself, at the end of the year, and we talked about who's going to win, God, and one of the people was worried people would dominate, which of course didn't happen. But then at the end of the year, I said to myself, if somebody would have told me that Kelly Kulik would not win a tournament in the first year of the tour, I'd probably be broke today because I would have bet a lot of money on it.
Well, that certainly would have been a
But then you
popular
sit here and
choice.
look at Carolyn's plus 124 already. I think we'll see a few more of the ladies of that era win some tournaments this year. The Carolyns, the Kellys. I think we're going to see a little more of that this year.
Sure, I
as
think
they
so.
get more stable.
And as we've talked about it a little bit, Carolyn, went to work on her game over the summer, and great piece written by Matt Cannizzaro. But just talked about Carolyn's thought process and game plan last year. Went on tour, of course, realized everybody's talent level had went up a notch as well, and she knew exactly what she had to do. And so I'm definitely looking forward to the season for her.
Yeah, so am I.
See how she rebounds.
I look at Shannon O'Keefe in there, sitting 10th. Here's a woman that 8 days ago was coaching a collegiate team in 3rd place, and all the emotion and all the that goes with that, and then turn around and come here and. Man, I'm thinking to myself, I'd have to take a week off. Done. And that didn't even include the NCAA championships that they finished 3rd in. So it's great. It's just great for our sport.
Joined by BPA Executive Director Frank Sochiel here, Bill Williams Jr., Aaron Smith, and Jason Thomas here with you, Bowl TV on Extra Frame. Jazz Reel 10 off to a solid start. And, of course, Jazzy, one of the winners from last season, former Wichita State Shocker on the Lubbock Open last season. Mentioned Kim Adler, USBC Hall of Famer, inducted officially last Thursday now at this point. I guess it was just a couple days ago. It wasn't last week.
Gave a
officially.
wonderful speech.
Yes, she did.
Oh.
Yes, she did. And that was, first of all, it was a phenomenal night, an honor to be there. But to hear her speak and just talk about what it meant for her, certain people in her life to help her get to that point. And I talked to her a little bit after, and I believe this is the first professional tournament she has bowled in 14 years.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's the entire week for her is, certainly one to remember.
The highs, absolutely. I had dinner with Bill Spigner last night, and he had so many great things, some more insight on Kim and her growth in bowling, and it's just great stories. And as a Wichita State grad, of course, I'm following right here. I got my poll in front of me, but I'm watching all that. I love those Shockers.
Jody Wozner also on our featured pair as well. And so all three on 37 and 38, getting off to a good start. Katie Sutphin for Central Florida player as well. Leanne Holsenberg, a phenomenal player, of course, as well, reaching that legendary status. Also, and Daphne Tan, also from Singapore, along with Jazz Rio, to talk a little bit about that international side. Rick, you mentioned, of course, Wichita ITCs are just at North Rock Lanes. From a proprietor's standpoint, what's a proprietor need, or if they want to host a PWBA event, what's the best way to go about it, and what might be needed to make that happen?
I think the first thing, if you have interest, you would reach out to Jason Thomas at the campus. Of course, always they could call Chad or I personally, and we'd put them in touch. We like to have 32 lanes or more. We will do 24 if a center's just over the top. We would do a 24 and it fit into the schedule. We are trying to keep the ladies where they're not, hip hopping all over the country, where they can make a general swing. Even more so for the ball companies. That way they can do some clinics as they go to the next weekend. But 24 lanes or more, preferably 32. As you see in this center, a wonderful bowlers area, 20 feet. You like to have a big bowlers area. You don't want the ladies to have to go back up on the concourse to get to where they got to go to when they start moving lanes. And then this center, of course, has a huge concourse. So a good draw, good place to watch. That's some of it. As your staff tournament oriented. I know a lot of proprietors that like hosting the women's events and even men's events because league bowlers like to bowl in the houses where the pros bowl. And that's still today, even though the PBA doesn't tour like it once did. League bowlers like to bowl where the pros bowl. And it's just a fact of life. And there's a networking there that they, and when they're there, it's just great stuff. And I think that's a draw for a proprietor to want to host an event. We brought the price down, won't go into it, but we brought the price down to make it very much affordable. They run a couple pro-ams. They've made their money back for their 3 or 4 days of the tournament. So we do like a center that's, don't care when it was built, but more so, has it been remodeled? Does it have a good food operation so we can take care of the ladies as well? That's what we look for. And we want proprietors that are going to be aggressive. Hey, what can you bring to the table to keep these ladies over the top? Treat them like the athletes. So some put out buffets last year. We had some that had a buffet at lunch, had finger foods in the afternoon, always water and soft drinks if they needed it. Some did breakfasts, so some had parties one night. So whatever, to raise the bar for the athlete instead of just saying, hey, come bowl and we'll see you again tomorrow.
That's all good stuff there. And something that, to keep in mind. I'm sure there could be someone watching right now who would love to have and be able to host an event and have the best female bowlers and the best women bowlers throughout. But, I think that's one of those things where, people may not know how much is needed and, of course, what goes into it, what makes it all happen.
It's great you bring that point up. So we actually have if they have an interest, we send a team out to review the center. And then after that, if we then give you a book, a full planning guide book. And then we also have what we call a tournament, pre-tournament person. Kathy's our gal this year, that then comes out and spends a day with you. And then we'll take another 2-3 days and call on centers all around you. So it's not the center doing it. To say, hey, here's what we have. Put up the posters, put up the banners, and get those people involved. Make sure that the proprietors have VIP passes. We engage the local bowling associations, get them to come by, have a little gathering with them, make sure that they get to see the great stuff that goes on, we try to treat each event just like we would the campus. Everybody working together for the benefit of women's bowling.
Game 5 going pretty quick. And Jazriel Tan now on a 3-bagger. Jazzy was in Wichita last week supporting her alma mater.
They had a they had a Wichita State reunion.
First ever.
First ever. They had a lot of people there.
Which is shocking. No pun intended.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was good. They had like 3 full nights of events that they did, and nothing, always where they could go watch bowling and then go out that night. I think their final night was actually at the, they had one night at the bowling center, which absolutely has been remodeled. It's just beautiful. And then they had the final right there in the Union.
Jim Adler 120 in the 6th, and on a spare, of course, in the 7th frame. And Jody Wolsner at plus 55. Jazz Reel at plus 110. Let's see if we've got some updated standings for you. Standings after 10, and we talked about it a little bit, and you saw it here. Rocio Restrepo with the 286 is now moved into the top spot.
Oh, you called that one.
At plus 301. Well, 286 will get you there.
Absolutely.
That's Sandra de Gongora now with plus 267 in 2nd place. Shannon Pluhowski in 3rd at plus 236. Linda Barnes at plus 235. Those are the only 4 competitors in the plus 200 mark. And of course, Ms. Restrepo now at plus 300, the lone competitor to enter that territory as well.
Wow.
So, in the long format, of course, 12 games of qualifying, and we still got plenty of bowling to go, but this cut is about the top 32.
And I will tell you, you kind of look at that, you shoot 86 over in one game, you're going to make a move.
Absolutely. and it just kind of goes to show, and she's continued, her pace. 195, 203, 201, and 240, 247, 247, 254 to end the first block. Clearly, she probably paid attention to some things on the fresh. Started out 269 in our first game of the afternoon, 206, 191, and then 286. And so that's I think, a good opportunity, a way to learn some things. She's paid attention. Making
and it looks like Shannon's been hanging in there just up in that top 8, 10 most of the day.
Absolutely. She's been just as consistent as well, and really, we wouldn't expect much less from Shannon Pluhowski. She was solid, actually shot 1440. She was the leader after the first game, the first block this morning at 1440, now in 3rd. The cut line, again, at the 32nd spot, plus 37 is the cut. So
wow.
That's where the women need to get to make sure they are in the top 32 in the cashers round tomorrow.
Fort Bagger over here.
There's Jazzy continuing the pace. Katie Sutphin, talented bowler as well. Bowling on to quite a few tournaments.
She go off the sheet for what, 259? Am I right there? Jazz Ray, yep.
Leanne Hulsenberg. That is talking about that void, and when the tour had a deceased. I mean, she was a mainstay, and again, another individual that folks looked up to, and just one of the kind of those timeless styles where it's memorable, very memorable, how she throws the ball down the lane, and in an era where I don't think that many women were able to hook it as much. She was certainly in that category and able to do some things with bowling ball that others couldn't.
She has continued to throw the ball well over the years, and she stayed competitive. I think she won a U.S. Open before we brought the tour back. She won a Women's U.S. Open, and she has stayed competitive in between all those years off.
Yeah, it is a real treat. As a fan of the sport, it's just a treat to watch and to see what has culminated in the last year and a half or so. Last couple of years, actually.
And the women, they're just like yesterday. They must have signed autographs yesterday for a couple, 3 hours. And not one complaint, not one, no, we'll wait for the line to be done. Even though they had to come over and practice, and not one complaint. And it's just wonderful. It's wonderful to see athletes that are very happy, very competitive. but still want to win. Still want to beat that person they're crossing with.
Nice shot by Leanne, the 26-time PWBA titleist. Jazreel Tan, as you mentioned, Frank. Shot here will give her 259. She's starting to make the move up
Yeah,
the
boy,
leaderboard.
that'd put her 160, 70 over there. 169 over.
Jazreel currently in 16th at plus 110.
As you can see, throws a really nice ball. Very nice ball.
Yeah, I think when you start to see, and Wichita State has really been one of their early programs to be able to recruit internationally, and just the talent, of course, that they've accumulated. But to watch, you see Jazreel Tan, and I think when people first saw her, of course, obviously want to know where she's from. She's from Singapore, and then all of a sudden, you get to see more of Singapore on the world stage. When Team USA is competing, for example, and Singapore is generally right at the top on the standings. They've had some battles.
At Southeast Asia, Malaysia's had some great players. I tell you, I think what helps a lot is having the live streaming. So even people in their country can catch this. I mean, 10 years ago you couldn't do it. It's crystal clear when you get over. I was out of the country and was just had a couple hours off for something. And it's just clear as day. It's great. I think it helps our sport globally, where people could see anybody participate.
I couldn't agree more, and that's not because I'm sitting here, but but I could not agree more. It has added a dimension that is different, and so when there's not an opportunity or if something's not on television, we can give you what you need leading up to the TV show, for example, as Extra Frame does generally. All the time throughout the week.
And I have friends that just have it on. They're at work. They're not watching it. They just have it on and just catching the scores, getting updated during the day.
The occasional peek in.
Yeah. Occasional. Yeah. And then when the right person, maybe they do it. But I had a guy tell me the other day, when they go to break, a bunch of them break at their break room, then they turn it on. One of the guys brings his laptop and watches, depending what's on, and they just catch it then. So it's a great way of watching. And with computers, the hookups are so much easier today than they were.
And mobile accessible as well. Everybody can accumulates or watches video through their phones generally, especially in the 21st century. So being able to have it right then and there is what's important. As we are finished bowling here on 37-38. Jazreel Tan again, 259.
Wow.
211 for Jody Wozner, and 188 for Kim Adler. Finishing up things on 39 and 40. As the 10th frame underway.
It's a wonderful center, though, to bowl in. When you look at that bowler's area, the women can move around. They can bring as many balls as they want.
Quite spacious.
Yeah.
Our venue here is Texas Station, for those who may be just joining us here in Las Vegas. Part of the West Coast Swing opening of the new tour season. Next week we'll be in Roanoke Park, California, followed by Sacramento, and then of course the first major on the schedule, the USBC Queens, back here in Las Vegas.
That's going to be a great tournament too.
It is going to be fun, and then of course the taped television shows that will be going on as well. We'll tape three standard events. This one, the Roanoke Park, the PBA Sonoma County Open, and the Storm Sacramento Open. Those will be taped on the same day, of course, as the USBC Queen Show. That show will be live, and all will be aired on CBS Sports Network.
Great.
Just the television exposure for the women this year, really. And everything we've talked about, that's kind of that, almost that last, stepping stone where you've built it up, and then now they get to go back where they belong, and that's on national TV.
And CBS Sports Network in I think 85, 90 million homes. It's great. It's good. And I think they've gotten more aggressive as a network. We like it.
Well, finishing up things here, game 5 generally almost complete. The all-important game 6 coming up, 185 for Katie Sutphin. Daphne Tan with a spare to go. She'll shoot 196. Leanne Holsenberg will step in the 10th. She'll have 219 if she can bring all 3 in the 10th.
And I'm predicting she will.
I like that prediction. Confident. Gotta stand by it. You mentioned the style is, get a good look at Leanne kind of solo up there, and she's not used to, or I'm saying, excuse me, she is used to kind of carrying things, and as a 26-time PWBA titleist, she knows what it's like to stand alone in a sense.
Might have jinxed her.
A little light, leaves a 2-8, and one of the nicest people also as well.
Very. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She can carry a conversation on with about anybody.
Nice spare by Leanne. And Frank, before we let you go, I'll ask for your final thoughts. I mean, you've obviously you've watched a ton of bowling in your day. You've hosted several tournaments in your day, but it really feels like there's something special going on in this building. And what's your immediate thoughts and your takeaways just from today?
Just from today, I love watching everybody work together. I love watching, and that can be every aspect of it. There's a lot of proprietors, a lot of spectators here watching and following the girls that they want to follow. There's some that are just watching the field, but then to watch how staff all works together, how the proprietor and the association and the professional women bowler all show respect to everybody. How do we do better? And what I do also like is we let the ladies bowl. So we're not bothering them. We're not trying to. And it's wonderful. It's to me, it's almost like watching when you watch a football game, you really can't talk to anybody, but after the block, we can say hello, we can get an autograph, and to watch all this happening and knowing it's just the first tournament of the next 11, I think it's great stuff. It's great stuff. Watch these wonderful ladies bowl.
Fantastic, sir. Well, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you
I know
very
you're
much.
A busy man, got some things to do.
Thank you so much.
No problem. That is Frank Socio, Bowling Proprietor Association of America Executive Director. Appreciate him joining us, and we will have Game 6 for you in just a sec. Be right back, folks. You're watching the Las Vegas Open on Bowl TV on Extra Frame. Game 6 underway. Featured pair now. Samantha Shaden, Jessica Lesaganich, and Emily Peterson, along with Maria Rodriguez, Adrienne Borella, and Stephanie Johnson. Quick double from Shaden there to get things started. This block has just flown by. Hard to believe we've almost been streaming for about 3 hours, but it seems like we just started. 3 on a pair, of course, but the talent of these ladies continues to be fun to watch. Aaron Smith, Jason Thomas in the building. Big thanks to Frank DeSocio, BPAA Executive Director. Joining us last game, talked a little bit about, of course, this tour, BPA's role, of course, in bringing it back and what he'd like to see in the future as the tour continues on. The big things I thought out of that certainly was the stability need that he talked about, of course, and that will the tour be around? No one wants to ask that question, and he wants to make sure that that is not the case. And I'm sure, of course, these ladies obviously appreciative of having this opportunity, and they certainly don't want to ask the question of, hey, will we continue to have one? And all involved, USBC, BPWA, and everyone working toward that same goal, and is to continue to give the best female bowlers in the world the showcase that they certainly deserve. Sandra Gongora sending messengers across the way. And she needed it too. 204, I beg your pardon, 239. Had the last 5. That was Danielle McEwen on that pair. 43 and 44 with a 204 game. Gongora sending messengers. She has bowled well all day long. But the leader after 10 games, following a nice 286, is Rocio Restrepo. Bowling out of Ohio, but a Columbia representative, a native. Always a mainstay on Team Columbia. Mainstay on Team USA. Here is Stephanie Johnson. Entering your screen, she'll get some carry, a little light. She'll shake the head and say, didn't like it too much, but the Pens decide to fall and cooperate, and she'll take that double to start things here in game number 6. Again, the cut line will be the top 32. Top 32 women. Now in game 12. We'll move on to the cashers round tomorrow. We'll have 6 additional games during that cashers round, and then after that, we'll have the top 12 players that will advance to match play. Again, a different format for PWBA events this year, with the addition of the televised shows that will take place. There will not be finalists or champions crowned at the end of these events. Instead, we will essentially determine the stepladder finals for each standard event, barring a live event, for example, such as the USBC Queens. which is a major title, and will be shown live, for example. So this show will air actually June 7th when it's all said and done on CBS Sports Network. And again, just what has developed into a wonderful partnership with CBS Sports Network. So tomorrow certainly should provide the first opportunity to see perhaps a little drama and some intensity. Step ladder finalists will be determined. So Samantha Shaden talked about her good start. Double spare double. Jessica Lesiganich, Lindenwood alumni. I know a little bit about that school. Also a collegiate national champion on the 2006 women's championship team. And a good start by Maria Rodriguez as well. Of course, former Queens champion. Adrienne Morella, a couple opens to start, trying to get back on the strike train. Got another great guest joining us in the booth. Bowl TV live on Extra Frame, the PWBA Las Vegas Open. My man Mike Larson, the Director of Associations and Membership Operations for United States Bowling Congress. Mike?
Good afternoon.
How you doing, sir? First of all, how you feeling?
I'm feeling wonderful.
Mike and so many, of course, put in a lot of time and a lot of work and effort into the USBC convention that concluded yesterday. So certainly job well done, sir.
Appreciate it. It was definitely an incredible week for everyone that was in attendance in the sport and all of our members and associations. It was just an unbelievable week of us all coming together, and a lot of education, a lot of networking, information, understanding, just really a collective effort for the week. So proud of our staff, USBC team coming out. It was, man, whew. You mentioned how I'm feeling. Yeah, it's some long days. I think I was up at 5 every day, and I think I got to bed around midnight most nights. But everything was well worth it. I mean, just the memories that were created from this week and the moments of joy for everyone. I'm having a hard time articulating it. Actually, it was just one of those things where you'll look back and remember that week forever.
Absolutely.
So.
Nice spare by Maria Rodriguez, 3-6-7-10. Able to knock it down and convert. Mike, no stranger to bowling. And we talked a little bit about college bowling as well, and many, of course, of these of the greatest women bowlers here participating have made their way through the collegiate ranks.
UCF Knight right there, Stephanie Johnson.
Guys,
Big strike, a former alumni of mine.
Indeed.
Stephanie and I went to University of Central Florida together. Known her since I was about 12 or 13, maybe even a couple years before that. Her and I both bowled the Florida U State Bowlers Tour, run by Chris Loschetter's parents back in the day. And just a phenomenal tour that they had every month. We were traveling around the state, and I actually beat Stephanie for my first title in those tournaments in Seminole, Florida. So really, that's my bowling claim to fame.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if you should ever let her live that down.
No. She won't forget. I think it's the only time I ever beat her. So she's obviously gone on to do some tremendous things in the sport. Won junior gold multiple times in a row, collegiate MVP. Never won the national title for the team event at ITCs. They made the TV show, and I believe against the Lindenwood Lions. So yeah,
did. It's a good match.
Yeah, we can stop that subject right now.
Fair enough.
No. But definitely so wonderful to see Stephanie out here competing. Longtime friend and competitor, and man, she's good. You know, just having her represent our country and all the bowlers for it. It's just been so awesome to watch someone that I've known so long. She's just a humble human being, and man, she's a real ambassador for the game at such a young age. So awesome to see her out here first week of the tour. So I hope everybody tuning in is really enjoying this first day of competition of the second PWBA Tour season. Place is awesome, the facility here. I'm sure you guys have talked about it. I just got here about game 4, so I was late to the show. I was busy packing up and shipping off some stuff from this past week's convention, and I wanted to make sure that I stopped by just to take it all in. I mean, I'd actually never been to Texas Station before, so thank you to them for being a gracious host. The facility's got a huge concourse, perfect for an event like this. Seating is ample, but I mean, you just want to stand and watch because the view is so big. I mean, high ceilings, the whole nine. So very nice bowling facility for anybody who comes to Vegas next time. Come check it out.
Absolutely, they have been gracious hosts, certainly, and we obviously appreciate them and look forward to the continuation of this great event tomorrow. Right now, on the line for some, is an opportunity to make the cut, cashier's round cut.
Yeah, how's that looking?
The top 32.
Take a look at some numbers.
Right now, your cut after 11 games is Adrienne Barella, who we are watching right here on our featured pair at plus 31. She did not get off to the best start possible. Had a couple opens. Follow those up with back-to-back spares. And now she'll deal with a 10-pin, so she is the cut line. And so in that situation, not a lot of room for error, of course.
And we're on the pair right in front of the scoreboard. Behind the scoreboard here, you know, big projector screen up here with the cut line scrolling the scores, and so it makes you wonder if she took a look as she was switching pairs to come over here. She's got to know that she's pretty close, and I'm not sure how many tournaments she's bowled in the past of this magnitude, but you know, in my days where I competed a little more than I do now, I was a looker. I was watching where the line was at and how close I was to it, and so wondering if that's playing into her head. Looks like she's talking over here to someone who's kind of helping her out. So trying to keep her head in it. You know, she's looking for a couple strikes here to make sure she stays in that line.
Indeed. She's had some big games today.
Yeah.
Shot 253 this morning and 279.
Wow.
This morning as well.
So she can put them together. She's not grinding. So those 2 games, she's 120, 130 over.
So it's again her number coming into this game plus 31 in amateur. So not a PWBA member. So that will be certainly.
Where is she from?
An opportunity here for her. Right here in the Southern Nevada area, in the Las Vegas area.
Okay.
Henderson.
Okay, so she's probably bowled here a little bit too. So she's got a feel for the place. Oh.
Just down the way. Now a
little restart there.
Restart.
Yeah.
Emily Peterson left there with a big 4. Again, Samantha Shaden was off to a very good start. A 7th frame open, but still an opportunity for Shaden there. Wrap 10.
Ring them up.
Or
she gave a look up to the bowling gods there.
Yeah, that was a very good shot.
Yeah, good looking shot.
Mike, I know you said game 4 you were able to kind of get in and take a look, but it doesn't take much to just kind of get an idea and just feel the excitement, kind of in the facility, the atmosphere. It's really something certainly to behold.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, the best players on the planet are right here. I mean, where else would you want to be, a bowling fan? I mean, this is it. I mean, it was, these ladies here represent so much for so many. All the young girls that will come to follow, this is who they're looking up to. So it is definitely cool. I wish I was staying through tomorrow. I wish I could. That would have been, man. It was a cool moment. I don't know if anybody talked about it earlier today. At the convention, we had a really nice moment during the morning session after our award ceremony, during our executive director's speech, where we recognized the tour players who were in attendance, and they came up on stage and said where they were from, what association they were a part of, and man, 1,200 people in that room, standing ovation for the tour ladies and for the tour itself. I mean, it was, I'm getting chills literally on my arm as we're sitting there, as I'm saying this, because it was just such a powerful moment for our sport, having all the delegates just appreciate these ladies and that feeling be reciprocated. All the ladies came on stage, said, Carolyn, for example, came up and said, Carolyn Doran-Ballard from the North Central Texas USBC, and just gave a thank you to the delegates and to the organizations that helped make this happen and allowed women's bowling to be back. I think they got it said multiple times about women's bowling is back, and wow, the cheer for that was something else.
Yeah, the one thing she also mentioned was the thanks for allowing little girls to dream and be able to have that dream, like her daughter, for example.
Yes.
To be able to be out here and to aspire to be a professional women's bowler. And again, there's a generational gap, so to speak, simply because there wasn't a tour for several years, obviously. And so the merging, if you will, the fusing of the younger generation. In fact, almost we can say, 3 generations, because there's a collegiate generation that is entering right now. There's that generation, like a Stephanie Johnson, for example, when she graduated, there was no tour.
Yep.
And so she gets her opportunity as well. And now, of course, the CDBs, Tish Johnsons,
Yep.
Leanne
Kim
Olsenberg,
Adler is in the house.
Exactly.
That name, wow. I remember watching her on TV when I was a kid. And ironically enough, so Kim was living in, I believe, Titusville or Rockledge, Florida, which is in Brevard County, which is the county I grew up in. And so she was the elite female bowler, of course. She lived 20 minutes away from where I did, and getting to see her on TV back when I was growing up was awesome. I actually bowled a pro-am with her at one point. And so, yeah, it is so cool to see the generations here. And yeah, you mentioned the young college starters out here now. Andrew Ramirez, fairly young bowler, just getting out of school recently, national title holder, if I'm not mistaken, from University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Her teammate as well over here, Maria Rodriguez, Queen's champion, as we've mentioned. So yeah, it is awesome to see.
In the cut line, top 32 move on to Cashers round tomorrow morning.
Big double there for Adrian.
We'll have the top 12 after that Cashers round will advance to match play. So the cut line here, our featured pair, Adrienne Barella, plus 31, coming into game 12. Trying to add to that plus margin. We certainly don't want to give away pins, and so she will do all she can. That 214, should she strike out?
All.
But, the first couple open frames, hopefully that will not cause any harm or any further damage. And 33rd was Brandy Bronco. Saw her a little bit early. She's at plus 23, and 34th was.
She's got the Superwoman outfit on, right?
She does. the Wonder Woman jersey.
Wonder Woman, yes.
Aaron pointed that out earlier.
Yeah.
And so far, she's the leader in the clubhouse for that category.
The crowd favorite. Yeah, you guys should do that. A weekly best jersey. What do you think?
I like that idea, and I will put that in my notes.
Also, what about nicknames?
Nicknames could be cool as well.
Made up by Emil Williams.
Well, I talked about, we had Patrick Allen on earlier this morning.
Oh, he's a nickname king, isn't he? Mop.
And as Barella leaves the 10 pin, we were talking about just the level and the tiers of players. And Aaron and I, again, we're talking a little bit about that as well. And there are certain names or certain people that you can say their first name and you will know who you're talking about. And so that's kind of the first name only. Like
Yeah.
Liz,
Carolyn.
Stephanie, Carolyn,
Yep.
Tish,
Linda,
for example.
Yep.
And so those are, as Barella's got to
the
hold
prince of our sport.
And Barella missed the 10 pin there late in the game. 151 for Adrienne here in the 9th frame.
Yeah.
Again, she is the cut line.
She's over here on the side. There's some emotions going for her right now.
Yeah, it's, I mean, no doubt about it.
Ooh, yeah, he chops the spare.
Give away a couple pins
She's
there.
at 57 over. 183. It's going to bring her down. She just really depends on those two ladies behind her. They're going to have to pop some pretty big games, though. They're, plus 10. They're going to have to bowl 230, 240, catch her. A couple of them anyway, so. I didn't see what Mariana Ayala finished with. She's just a couple pairs to her left. She was 57 over. A couple pairs have wrapped up here. To our right, they're only in the 8th and 9th frame, so they've got a couple more to go.
Yeah, Maria was 28th coming into this game. She was at plus 57, in fact, tied with Mariana Ayala at 28th.
Jody Worcester down here at plus 66. She's got 5-bagger in the middle there, so she's going to bowl 240.
Jody struggled a little bit earlier on this pair.
Ooh, she liked that one. She gave a little hop skip. First one in the 10th.
She is in a nice spot, but 26 at plus 66. But again, we don't see any big games, but of course the center pretty big.
Yeah.
Can't see what's going on the low end.
You can get about 8 pairs in front of you, and then tough to see from there.
So
great screens here, by the way. These are nice, though.
In front of us here is Barella.
Yeah, she goes high there, leaving the 610. She's going to bowl 170, so she'll drop down to just a couple over. She'll spare this to get to 2 over. I don't think that's going to hold up. Clapping down there for Leanne Holsenberg. Oh, she was plus 5, and she's going to bolt. The fill here will get her to 245. So that gets her to 50. Or Leanne Holsenberg looks like she's going to make a move into the number. Is that incorrect? The PDF here of scoring on her, for those at home, on her screen at the center, we have her at plus 5. Might need to check that score on the.
That is a good question. Nonetheless,
she's going to bowl 240 to finish, so.
240 will put you in a good spot. We know that she will go around, unfortunately, Adrienne Barella at this point. Barella finishing with 171. She will lose 29 pins. So she will stand at plus 2. And more than likely may have missed that top 32.
Alicia Current is down here on, what is this, 33 and 34. She was plus 41, but she can only throw the last 3 for 170. Got the first hit in the 10th already. 174 would be the final. So she's going to drop a couple also. So
she'd like to, of course, get all 30. That would put her at plus 11 overall for the tournament. Plus 11 after 11
she gets
was 35th.
the second hit there, so she's going to get to 170. Yeah, she'll drop down to 7 over. It's going to be interesting when you got a couple of folks right above the number. I mean, that's literally 31st and 32nd with 1 to go, both bowling 170. You know that Wonder what Wonder Woman's bowling.
Yeah, we don't see Brandy Bronca anywhere
Yeah.
near. There is Current. She brings 3.
Does finish the 174.
Alicia won the first stop, or the first standard event
Yeah.
of the newly relaunched at the time, the 2015 PWBA Tour in Sacramento.
Yeah, very cool for her. She's one of those, graduated from college a few years ago. She went to, I forget where she went first. I know she graduated from Wichita State.
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Oh, she an FDU. Okay,
FDU.
Fairleigh Dickinson's, and then Dickinson, excuse me, and then went to Wichita State, honed her craft a little more. Had a few years, bowling the majors, but now with the tour back, she took advantage of that first tournament last year in Sacramento. I remember getting to see her at Junior Gold later that summer, and I made sure to congratulate her on that first title. And as she walked into the center, as she's a collegiate coach now, and so she was, you were definitely proud and appreciative when people were recognizing her and giving her thanks and congratulating her. Very cool.
Just about
Fulfilling a
done
dream.
on 41-42, finishing up there's Andrew Ramirez with 1 more to go. She can go out with 215, but sitting at minus 155. No one in the immediate area here aside from Karen Marcano and Shannon Puhowski. Shannon has just been rock solid all day. Still has Karen Marcano. She shot 242 to add to
Shannon
her total.
steamrolling them. Yeah, she's 220 over, and she can bowl 250 here. What's the leader at? Is she going to take the lead by chance? I know Rocio was up there.
It is very possible, but
Yeah, Rocio's on the other side of the building. I know she's down by like 15 or so.
depending on what Rocio shot. In fact, Rocio shot 286 a couple games ago to take the lead.
Yeah. That's when I got here. I saw her. I walked in and she
That
had a
was a good
spare
time.
double, and I saw her throw the next 6.
That was a good time to.
Her look was good. She's walking by here. You can see there she is. Nope, she's too short to make the camera. Rocio, she missed.
258
She's pretty
for
confident though.
Pluhowski. Nice job by Robin Romeo, of course, the Hall of Famer. Saw her mom be inducted, Joan Romeo, into the Hall of Fame on Thursday. Shot 236. Won't be enough to make the top 32, however. Kevin Marcano came in at plus 130, shot 242. So to solidify her spots in the top 32.
We're going to have some movement. That's for sure. With 31st and 32nd dropping down. Maria Rodriguez struggling at the finish there, and she was, around 27th, 28th place. So we're going to have some movement. We'll see how the final numbers break down. We've got a couple pairs still bowling. Almost everybody's done. Carolyn Doran Ballard down there finishing up. She's 123 over. It shows she can bowl 211. She gets the last 3 in the 10th. She got a spare in the 9th. 161 in the 8th. Daniel McEwen threw a shot. Didn't look like she liked it. What's she doing? Is she 126 over, it looks like? She's going to bowl 180 with a spare strike finish. Is it Shayna? She's 152 over. She's going to bowl 250. Big finish for her. She's going to get, if she gets them all here, she got the first one in the 10th. She gets the last 2, she'll bowl 250 to get to 200 over. She's got to like where she sits after that.
Yeah, she's been solid all day.
She's got a powerful game.
Shayna from Singapore.
Yeah, she sure gets a handful. She gets the double. So, yeah, she's going to get to 250. 200 over's got to feel pretty good.
Shayna will certainly get there. At this point, only questions are, of course, who's in that cut line. We think Leanne Holstenberg may have done enough in her last game with 245 to make it, but unsure, of course, until the official standings will be released. To check those, make sure you go to pwba.com, as of course we will be stopping the stream here momentarily before the standings are official. But it's been a great first day at the PWBA Las Vegas Open. So we want to thank all of our guests this morning and this afternoon. Patrick Allen, Steve Pumpkin.
Stevie K was in, huh? Hall of
Stevie
Famer.
K was in this morning.
Another Hall of Fame inductee this year at surrounding Convention Week with the Hall of Fame induction. It was a special treat to see him get inducted. For anybody who hasn't seen that, we do live stream on Bowl TV, and so that's recorded if you want to watch the induction speeches from Thursday night. They are something special. I mean, laughs, tears, full night of emotion wrapped up in one dinner. I mean, the place was abuzz. It was so wonderful to see. It was almost a reunion of sorts. We had over 25 Hall of Famers come back this year to come to the banquet. Barry Asher was in the house, legend from Southern California. I've only met him once, but I'm a big Lebowski fan. Barry Asher is the gentleman at the end of that movie, bowling in Big Lebowski. So he's one of the greatest 50 of all time. I think he's 47th or so on the list in the PBA's book when they came out with that a few years ago. So he was a class of '88 inductee into the, at the time, ABC Hall of Fame. So special night for sure. So we had Klumpkin in the booth. Who else was up here? I know Mr. DeSocio.
Stephen Padilla, the director of coaching at USBC. Gary Brown, managing director of youth development at IBC, the International Bowling Campus. Frank DeSocio, BPAA executive director, and
very cool.
Mike Larson,
I feel
director of associations and membership operations. So
humbled to be here, honored to
absolutely.
be here. It's been, like I said, it's been awesome.
Thank you, sir. So should be the last shot thrown by Sandra Gongora. Again, the final standings. Make sure you check PWBA.com. Again, that is PWBA.com. The top 32 will move on after today. They will come back tomorrow morning at 8:30 Pacific time. Again, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Eastern for the cashers round. It'll be 6 more games, followed by match play, of course, round robin. The top 12 will make that, and we'll have the group step ladder finals throughout the day. Again, I want to thank all of those guests. I want to thank Mike Larson. And so for Aaron Smith, Jason Thomas, and all involved, certainly, my name is Emil Williams Jr. We thank you for watching. Day number 1 of the PWBA Las Vegas Open is complete. Check PWBA.com for all of your standings. It's been a presentation of the PWBA and Bowl TV on Extra Frame. We'll see you in the morning, folks. Have a good day.